get the DJ playing. Happy Friday to everybody. Shout out to Leroy Green in the building. I see Mad Max in the building already. We did a special Patreon earlier today, actually. And I kind of like doing the Patreons on Friday. It's weird. Oh, sorry about that. I like doing the Patreons not saying that we're going to continuously do it, but, we did it because we had to shift something around. But we did an Infamous versus Reasonable Doubt, and it was very enjoyable. And I think we had some really great conversation with Leroy Green and Dumb It Down and everybody else in the chat. I just want to thank everybody for the support, man. It's been a great year for A2HH Live, man. 36 Chambers was in the building, too, I must say.
I concur and echo all those sentiments.
Man, we had some really great conversations about lyricism. After listening to Reasonable Doubt from beginning to end, minus regrets because, the Infamous has 13 songs, so we want to do 1313. Mm-hmm. But listening to Reasonable Doubt again from beginning to Bring It On, I really believe, not to say that I want Jay-Z to make a Reasonable Doubt, I really believe that he could go back to his more complex way of delivering rhymes and make a great album in 2023 in that facet. Now, I would like to hear more of a Ninth Wonder than an Alchemist. And that's because of the drums. I think I froze on this end. Let me fix that. Go ahead. I'll fix it.
I'm with you on the ninth thought, as we talked about before. The Metro thought has come to mind too, about giving him somebody current.
Metro and Jay?
Yeah.
Metro's my guy, man. I don't know, man. Because this is the thing. I don't want Jay to, because he's done this his whole career as far as kind of, I don't want to say chase current stuff, but adapt to the current environment. I think it's time, and maybe he did this a little bit with 444, but I think it's time for him to just say, no, I'm going to make what I want to make, and I don't have to adapt to, the current crop of what's going on.
I can't see you, by the way, but I think the people can see you, so I think that's fine. I don't have our YouTube pulled up.
No, that's cool. I'll fix it on this end too.
Yeah, that's cool. No. I feel you because what I think about is that hip hop is about to be 50, which means hip hop is still relatively young. Like, do you feel old at 40?
I don't.
Right.
Like they say, you're only as old as you feel.
Neither is hip hop, and so it still is a young culture, and it's still kind of like a young man's game. So for somebody that's on the other side of 50,
Somebody said, "What about Jay-Z and Justice League?" I'm with that too. Again, I think, if we're being perfectly real here, if Rick Ross were the executive producer, I'd be with that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the chamber that, we're looking for. But even those are two different chambers. Listening to Reasonable Doubt, like you said, and I agree with you, the production on Reasonable Doubt isn't outstanding. He's outstanding. It has outstanding moments from a production standpoint. Yes. But the production is a reflection of that era. So
is it?
I think so. When I listen to songs like Bring It On, actually, you know what? It's funny you say, yeah, it's not really a reflection of 96. It's more of a reflection of 93, 94.
Right.
So when you hear songs like Coming of Age, when you hear songs like, Bring It On, Can I Live, Cashmere Thoughts, these sound like East Coast tracks you hear in 94, 93-ish. But again, I think that coming from that standpoint is different than coming from a Justice League standpoint, right? What
I want to stress in this, Mike, is that, you don't necessarily want him to do what's comfortable. Remember how we looked at the Nas and Hit Boy pairing originally? We were like, oh, I don't know about that. That don't really make sense. And now we're walking out on the back end of it. It's like, man, that's one of the best MC producer combos I've ever seen.
Well, him and Nas are different in the sense that, and Nas did some adapting too, but he would always gravitate back to, what his core is. I think Jay did so much adapting that he never revisited not just reasonable doubt, excuse me, stylistically, but he just never revisited that lyrical approach again, ever. I think the closest
I don't
might be, from a feel standpoint, might be the Blueprint, and I think that's why people feel so highly about the Blueprint and its song and how powerful the songs are on there. Now,
see
rhyming
what's
wise, he's nowhere near he was on Reasonable Doubt on the Blueprint.
I don't I don't necessarily agree with those sentiments because of 97 Hove and because of Volume 1. Because that's what I'm telling you is that if you actually strip the singles away from Volume 1, that same guy that you're talking about on Reasonable Doubt, he exists on Volume 1. It's just
He
more
does.
inconsistent because of those three singles. And so if you want to speak after that moment, then yes. But think about it. When you think about some of his best stuff rhyme wise, especially by himself on the solo tip, a lot of that's Volume 1, Mike. Imaginary Players, Streets is Watching, A Million One Questions, Round No More, You Must Love Me, Where I'm From. Those are all solo shots from Jay off Volume 1.
He did some great work on Volume 1. But if
You
we're
don't think it's
honest,
Reasonable Doubt caliber, though, MCing? You know?
I mean, I think from a lyricist standpoint, yes, but when you're talking about the flow, I mean, it's just not the same. Like, y'all niggas munching,
So,
punching the
so
clock.
you're
My
talking about you
function
want
is
him to bring the flow back?
I mean, just be. It was.
I
I
don't
think
know about
Reasonable
that,
Doubt
Mike.
was a good mixture of that rapid fire flow that he can give you and lyricism. Whereas Volume 1, you could tell that he was trying to, slow it down a little bit.
See, you
And then
want
Volume 2, he just totally dumbed it down.
See, you want 96 J. I want 97 J. I don't want that super fast rapping J
Well, he
necessarily. I
wasn't
want
super
97
fast
J.
rapping. He wasn't super fast rapping. I
Yes,
think
he is.
that.
Y'all niggas munching, punching the clock. My function is to make munching, lay back luncheon, sipping Remy on the rocks. My crew's something to watch, nothing to stop. Unstoppable, scheme on the ice. I got a hot trip. Yes, he is.
He
Like
was
that
able to
super
do
rapping thing.
everything because even if you look at the Evils, how he adjusted to that, how he adjusted to Can I Live?
No, Mike, even when the beat is like, how about this? Even when the BPMs on there are at what you would call normal rapper rapping level at that time, he's still rapping fast. Listen to that verse that you just um listen to the verse that you just played all the way through
Are you
on
talking
Bring It
about
On.
Bring It On?
Yeah. Listen to how he's rapping over that beat. Now listen to how Sauce is rapping and Jazz is rapping over that beat pace wise. Yeah, he is rapping fast.
Got the wisdom of a young Bobby De Niro. Yeah, he killed that shit.
No, he killed it, but he's rapping fast, Mike.
Yep. Jay Short with the super chat says, "What will we see first, a Jay album or another Nas album?" I think another Nas album. He's in his own, in my opinion. Andrew Green says, "Wish Jay would do a whole album with Bink." Huh. I think that could work too. Bink doesn't
With
get
Bink?
enough credit. I mean, a lot of people don't even acknowledge the fact that obviously Bink's the other guy on the Blueprint. But Bink also did one of the strongest songs on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Devil in a New Dress.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're about to talk about Bink a little bit today because he's one of the main producers on Mount Westmore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Mount Westmore a lot. Do you want to
Me
go
too.
ahead and get into that?
Um, all the way. Do you think we've cleared up all the ancillary? Hold on. No. I want to get back to this fast rapping thing. See, I thought you wanted 96 feeling J, introspective, like insightful literary devices J.
I do.
They know you wanted rapidy rap, like 22 twos, high diamond gleam, high post, like Hakeem saying it real fast, Jay. They know you wanted that.
Who wanna bet us that we don't touch leather, stack cheddars forever, live treacherous, all the et ceteras, to the death of us, me and my confiance, you shine, you feel the ambiance, y'all niggas just rhyme. I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I love 97 Hove. I think 97 Hove really got into his conversational mode, and that's when he became that great conversational MC. I think there can be a mix of both. I think
I'm
the
cool with a
only
mix of both.
problem I had with 97 Hove was the fact that from a hit making standpoint, he wasn't all the way there yet.
He didn't
Because
need to
the
be.
short
But MC wise though, he was top
oh
five.
no, yeah. And I think one of his best verses, if not his best verse, is probably the last verse
Streets is
Streets is
watching.
Watching, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think that the shortcomings on that album are when he tried to make notable records. And I think that, I mean, notable hit radio records. And I think that's the beginning of the conformity. Now, he was able to master it, and when he mastered it, we never got that 97, 96 Hove back. And I'm just saying, at this point in his career, he has more Grammys than everybody, right? He has more number one albums than everybody. He's a billionaire. You don't have to conform anymore. Make the album you want to make. Maybe that's what he did with 444. I'm not sure.
That is not it.
I just didn't really, I mean, sonically 444 just didn't connect for me. And maybe that's based on what he's given us over the years. But, I mean, we had a whole discussion about that on the Patreon, and Leroy Green was talking about how you got to look in depth with what he's talking about. And a lot of things were over our heads and things of that nature. That's fine. But it just didn't sound great to me. And I hate to be that basic about it, but, you know, it's when I press play, listen, it's Jay. I am already knowing that, yo, the bars are going to be there, the perspective's going to be there, the pen work's going to be there. I just want to know, like, can I bang this joint at this point? You know what I'm saying? That's a prerequisite.
Truth.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You make some valid points. I guess the only thing that I will tell you, when you're talking about him missing on the hit making, well, you're talking to somebody that thinks that, like, Ain't No Nigga isn't that dope, for one. It's one of the weaker moments of Unreasonable Doubt, in my opinion. Just
when we
me
played
personally.
it today, I felt similar things, yeah.
The other singles on there are Can't Knock the Hustle and Feeling It, correct?
Yeah, and Dead Presidents, technically.
Dead Presidents. Yeah. Now, I love all of those records, but those are more hip-hop classics than they are big singles now, aren't they?
That's true.
And so what I'm trying to tell you is that guy that's rapping fast on 96, he just slowed his pace down on 97 and his flow got sicker, but he was still making those core songs. And even if you think about it, like Feeling It, well, he really didn't create Feeling It because we know that was a Camp Lo record first too, right?
Mm-hmm. Camp Lo and Ski, yep. The demo's out there on YouTube, but it's dope.
Right, it's dope. So you got a Camp Lo record that he pretty much just laid his verses to. Nothing against Sonny Chiba and Geechee Suede. They're just not Jay. Even though he kind of jocked some of their swag. You got Mary J. Blige in 1996 singing the hook on one of his records. You got Foxy Brown.
Can't Knock the Hustle, in my opinion, is probably the most fitting single.
Yes.
That
it's the single that makes sense. When it goes with the album and goes with the guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the bars are there. It's a record that can get played. Yeah, it's like the melodies there. It's a dope song. Like, I think that is the single that you want from an album like that.
No, it's a great record, but what I'm saying is that, well, he had Mary singing the hook to that record. It's like, well, Mary ain't singing the hook on Volume 1. You feel me? He didn't have a Camp Lo banger like waiting in the wings for another single in Volume 2. You feel what I'm saying?
But see, this is what he tried to do on Volume 2. He had Blackstreet singing Volume 1, excuse me, yeah. Right. He had Blackstreet singing the hook. He had Babyface singing the hook.
That ain't gonna work. That ain't Mary. This hip-hop. Yeah. That ain't gonna work. That's part of why it didn't work.
You know, we love Babyface, man, and he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest songwriters of all time. His hip-hop collaborations have just never really hit the mark.
That's what I'm saying. That ain't going to cut it over here. Yeah. It's nothing against him.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Jazzy Bell the Outkast did before he jumped on it.
Correct. Same here.
Yeah. Andrew Green with the Super Chat says, at B-Sides, 2 concerts, Jay did Bring It On verse over New York State of Mind beat with Nas on stage. It sounded clean. I bet it did. I think I remember hearing
it. I still can't see you, by the way, Mike. I still can't see you, by the way.
Oh, let me change that real quick.
Looking at a big logo.
Yeah. Can you see me
now?
We
go. Okay. Yeah, now I can see you. It just makes doing the show a little bit easier when I have like a reference point and not a screen.
No, I feel you. I probably couldn't do it that way either. Jay Short with the super chat says, y'all got to give E40 his props. This album is based on the bass sound he's established the last few years. Snoop can rap over anything and sound good. Cube and Short were having fun on this.
First of all, Jay Short, you need to get out my notebook. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Get out my notebook, Jay Short.
Leroy Green with the super chat. Hold on, let me change this up real quick. All right, cool. Leroy Green said, I never clarified my question earlier, Mike, and I think you guys should ask people. According to hip-hop, what should be the new element in the culture? I'm proposing a moral ethic. That's what I meant.
A moral ethic?
Moral ethic in the culture. So
what does he mean when he's saying that?
I was gonna say, kind of clarify that. So we got MCing, DJing, b-boying, graffiti. Some say knowledge, some say beatboxing, and moral ethic.
So there's supposed to be a moral ethic surrounding like moral ethic should be like an edict. It should be like an oath. It should be like a vow. It should be like in the hip hop constitution that in order for these elements to exist, this must exist, I think.
I saw, and I'm not saying this is a moral ethics situation, but I think now we have a lot of platforms, which I think are great, right? A lot of people have podcasts and a lot of people have YouTube channels that have the name hip hop in them. But what it seems to happen is you get people on these platforms and people just start talking some off-code stuff, and it starts rifts in the culture. Just recently, and I think we just covered this today on According to Hip Hop, I guess Fat Joe got on the Math Hoffa podcast and was talking about he discovered Trick Daddy and Pitbull. And Uncle Luke had to make a post to, kind of check that. Like, look, I discovered Trick Daddy and Pitbull. He told the whole story about, Trick was on Cap D Coming. Like, come on. Like,
he's on
that
Scar.
was like 1996. Yeah, Scar.
Yeah.
And that was way back. Nigga, I was in middle school then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that was the summer before my freshman year of high school. Yep.
So I think a part of this, to bring this back around, I think a part of these code of ethics, and I just got to be frank about this. If you don't really remember what happened, just don't tell the story. But we can't be out here just making up stuff and rewriting history. I mean, we can't do that. Uncle Luke shouldn't even have to check that. But see, what happens is, you got brothers who are like Mad Max age and younger, and I say this respectfully, if they see somebody say something that's respectable online and they weren't there to remember otherwise, they'll take it as facts. You know what I'm saying?
They may not take it as facts, but they will receive it and take it in until you tell them otherwise.
Not Mad Max specifically, but I'm just talking about his
age demo.
Yeah,
you know Mad Max as an age demo.
Speaking of Mad Max, he says, Mad Max says, think I'm too young for this Mount Westmore because I don't like it. But Kool G Rap, for his age, rapping better lyrically than any MC 45 and up to me.
I find that to be fascinating that Mad Max is the one saying that. We can get to that briefly too. I haven't finished listening to the G Rap. Like I'm almost done. I think I got like 2 or 3 more records.
We want to dedicate a whole show to G Rap, right?
So we're probably going to talk G Rap on Wednesday, Mad Max, to give him his like kind of proper run. I don't think it's like necessarily fair, especially when you have 4 legends that got together to do an album, to just kind of like slide a Kool G Rap album in on the back end of something like that. So we kind of want to separate the two. And,
I'm interested to hear what Mad Max didn't like about the album. Probably production, though. That would be my thing that maybe, and not say the production's bad. I think that the production...
We're going to have some talks about that, too.
I think the production fit more of what E40 and Short do, and sometimes Snoop, and everybody else is kind of adjusting.
There's a lot of ways to take that because that's one of those potential, like it's a negative, but it's a positive. And I think we'll get to that when we get to the album. I want to sidebar right quick before we start unpacking the album though, right quick, if that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
You been watching the World Cup, Mike?
I haven't.
Okay.
What's been going on?
Getting a little World Cup update. We had some PKs today. Argentina, like literally about 15, 20 minutes before we went on live, just got done beating the Netherlands. Now, Argentina and the Netherlands have a history. Argentina won their last World Cup, I believe, which is like around the time we were kids, against the Netherlands, and they beat the Netherlands in the last World Cup to go to the final. And so this is their third or fourth straight time like beating the Netherlands. But what we have potentially set up, Portugal is on the other side of the bracket from Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Now they're playing Morocco, who upset Spain. Now, Portugal's the favorite and should advance to the semifinals. England and France play. France are the defending champions. Now, if Portugal can defeat either England or France, that'll put them in the final. Argentina is going to play Croatia. Croatia was in the final 4 years ago. When I'm saying last year, I mean 4 years ago because it's World Cup.
Right.
Now, Argentina was in the final 8 years ago, okay? Croatia was in the final 4 years ago. So these are the last two runner-ups, actually, of the World Cup playing to go to the World Cup final in Croatia and Argentina. This is second-place team. Germany beat Argentina. France beat Croatia. Croatia is probably the youngest, most thriving soccer nation that it is. Like what Croatia's done with their soccer team in the short amount of time is what we should aspire to, because they've already made it to a final and they're already about to play Argentina to make it to another final again. But potentially, if we have Portugal and Argentina in the final because they're on the other side of the bracket, we get Messi, Ronaldo. Neither one of them have won a World Cup. Messi's been to a final and ran out of gas and lost 8 years ago, but he carried a team 8 years ago, like literally carried them. He scored I think he scored like 6 of the 7 goals that they scored to get to the final or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we potentially have like the showdown of the arguably 2 of the 4 greatest players of all time playing in their final World Cups, and they might meet in the final, and one of them is going to walk away with the World Cup, and one of them is going to walk away.
That's gonna be box office right there.
And I want you to understand something. Messi and Ronaldo's following are number 1 and 2 in the world. As in, it exceed LeBron James, Tom Brady, anybody you got here stateside. These are the number 1 and 2 guys worldwide. And they might meet in the final, in their final World Cups, because neither one of these guys is going to play in 4 years, I think.
It'll be history.
Be history. That's all I got.
Somebody in the chat wanted me to remind everyone that, it is December 9th.
And I got Argentina. I got Messi. I got Messi taking this World Cup and retiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is December 9th, and Eminem still hasn't responded to the game's The Black Slim Shady diss record.
Like Brittany Griner's home. Can we just can
I'm just saying.
I want to shout out Brittany Griner being home.
Yeah, shout out to Brittany Griner. 007 with the super chat says Ronaldo is starting, but I believe Ronaldo is starting, but I believe that they will start him off strength. Ronaldo is not starting. Excuse me. Yeah, Ronaldo is not starting, but I believe that they'll start him off the strength that if they meet Argentina, him and Messi on that stage is too big to pass up.
See, but this is what I mean. Messi's older than Ronaldo and kind of came a little bit before Ronaldo, but he's being better later. I'm gonna tell you what happened today. Brazil and Croatia were playing. Neymar, who was right there with Messi and Ronaldo as like the premier players of this generation, they held Neymar. You usually want your you got to pick your order, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 penalty kicks. They had Neymar going last. Neymar never even got a chance to kick. When Argentina did their penalty kicks, you know who was the first person to walk up was?
Who's that?
Messi.
Yep.
The best player, arguably the best player ever, we're not going to risk him not getting a kick. As a matter of fact, we're going to let him set the tone because he's the best. And you know what he did?
He did his thing.
And kicked in and he set the tone. Right. Yeah. So, World Cup break over. But it...
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll be looking
Ronaldo
out.
Older? Somebody said Ronaldo is over. Just because he's older, I don't think. But hold on, who started playing first? That's what I'm saying. Who made it to like the major like soccer team level first though? Because I thought it was Messi.
Yo, people are spitting some some E40 bars in the chat. I be hippopotamus. Get off of your head like a neurologist. Push on more weight than rappers. Got a partner by the name of Tupacalypse. That's one of the dopest starts to a verse ever to me.
40's dope. We're gonna talk about 40 and then glowing manners. Now here's what Messi has on his side that he didn't have 8 years ago and definitely didn't have 4 years ago. He has a couple young guys riding shotgun with him and they're not scared and he's still really good. And so I'm gonna pick them to take this World Cup.
Yes, I have been bumping Drillmatic, and I think that the Black Slim Shady is a top 10 diss record all time in hip hop. Because you know what? The degree of difficulty is high. We did a whole show about the breakdown. I think it was very surgical.
Top 10.
It shut down the guy that they say ends people's career.
It's better than Ether.
I didn't say that.
Over the Bitch in You.
I think it might be better than the Bitch in You. I think it might be.
No Vaseline.
It's not better than that, no.
Drop a Gem on them.
It's better than Drop a Gem on them. It's not a better song, it's a better diss record.
You're bugging.
It's a better diss record.
No, you're really bugging today.
No, I mean, if we put it in a diss record category.
I'm not going to yell, I'm not going to scream, but you are bugging.
Jay Short with the super chat says, sprinkle me. One love, rappers ball. Love rappers ball. Tell me when to go. Function. Hope I don't go. Hope I don't go back. Love that record too. Nah. Automatic. Love Automatic. You and That. Choices. I don't give a. Hurricane. I love Hurricane. I forget about Hurricane. Yo, 40 got hits.
40's dope.
For somebody who's kind of like an underground guy, he got hits.
So I got a hot take about 40 when we get to this Mount Westmore. Are you ready?
Well, my hot take is still Black Slim Shady, top 10 diss record.
That's not hot. That's wrong. Is it? Hold on. How about this? Is it better than back to back? Is it better than back to back?
It's better than back to back.
Oh, you were bugging.
I think Pest Control is better than back to back.
Is it better than Story Added On? Infrared?
I think it is a better song.
Exodus? You think it's better than the Put Your Hands Up freestyle that Siegel did against Kiss?
Nah, I'm giving that one to Siegel. I'm giving
right now
we
have Ether Takeover, No Vaseline, the Siegel diss, and then you got the Game diss.
Nah, it's somewhere in that top 10.
You understand how you sound.
I think Checkmate's better. You know what's interesting though?
Checkmate is better. So that's 6.
You know what's interesting
Down?
Though?
You don't think Back Down's better?
Back Down's better.
Back Down's hard.
You know what's interesting though? When you look at it, all the people that 50 had to deal with, man, he had to deal with the Jadas, the Styles, you know what I'm saying? The Game. And M's nowhere to be found. It's clear who Eminem doesn't want it with. You know what I mean? But when Ja Rule comes with something, oh, he's all in.
That doesn't make the diss record stronger.
No. I'm just talking in general. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't make this diss record top 10. This is not a top 10 diss record.
And let's keep it above.
You're being disrespectful to the diss records that have been made. We have not even gotten the female rap beefs yet.
Well, see, I'm just trying to hold
10% diss.
I'm just trying to hold this guy who's supposed to be top 5 very high.
Oh, here we go.
If he's top 5 and you got somebody who came in and did a 10-minute diss record on him and silenced him, what does that say about the record? He's top 5, right? 36 Chambers with the super chat says, still have it in a major way in a CD player. Yeah, man, I had that whole
major way.
Yeah. The E40 disrespect in the chat is blasphemous. They don't understand his lingo, but people been biting him. I think the thing about somebody like 40,
it's amazing how people can say that in these times. When I haven't been able to understand half the MCs and rappers that have come out in the last decade. Like literally about 30 to 40% of them, I don't understand what they're saying the first time I hear them, Mike.
You know, when I first heard Silk the Shocker, and I'm not trying to be funny.
You are.
No, I'm not. You know how P and them spent time in the Bay. Like when I heard Silk on Somebody's Watching Me for the first time. And I was like, he's definitely E40 inspired, and not saying that to be funny, but just taking on a whole different style and cadence. And I'm not as down on Silk as a lot of people are. I look at people like that as somebody who's really going out there trying to do something different. I mean, it's not super hard to rap, but it's hard to go out there and make your own style and stand out. And I think that that's what people like, you know, him, 40, they do. Like, he has a whole different style. Like he said, he raps in cursive, my nigga. Like, he does something different.
No, 40 rapping in cursive.
Yeah. It's like, you don't think that 40 could go out there and just rap like any other rapper? He could do that. He chose to do something else.
Of course.
I think that's why him and Dr. Dre never worked together. Because Dr. Dre likes to dictate how, you know, rappers deliver their flows. And I don't think that him and 40 would be able to see eye to eye on that. Shit, him and Cube don't really see eye to eye on that either. You know, Cube doesn't really work with Dre like that either. After Cube got his freedom, he didn't really work with Dre no more.
Natural Born Killers is really the only real sighting of it we have outside of a couple blips and blurbs here and there.
Yeah, and he kind of did his thing on there. Deontay Smith with a super chat says, I grade diss tracks on the lasting damage that they do to an artist's reputation. Back to back harmed Meek far more than the Black Slim Shady harmed M. Okay. Well, see, when do you separate those things from the industry and the backing? Because we can't really. How do you measure, Deontay Smith? How do you measure second round knockout from Cannabis? Because a lot of people feel like it's a better diss record than what LL delivered, but LL is LL, and he wasn't gonna lose. There was not gonna be any real lasting damage from an up and coming rapper like Cannabis to a legend at that time like LL. You think that this industry is going to allow Eminem to receive damage? The damage would happen if he ever responded. And that's why he hasn't responded. That's the damage.
What I know. I know both of those records, The Ripper Strikes Back and Second Round Knockout, they're better than the game diss on Eminem.
The Ripper Strikes Back's not, but I'll give you a Second Round Knockout.
Yes, it is. They're both better. They're better songs.
Nah. I mean, really, The Ripper Strikes Back, and I say this respectfully, it pretty much was just literally word for word an answer back to each bar from the Second Round Knockout. And yeah, I agree, Leroy.
This battle not about the respond and react, though?
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of
How many people could be that intricate and actually respond to every bar back and formulate a song out of it?
A part of it's unoriginal, but again, you have to respect the actual response. And the response is when you could possibly lose, right? M's not responding. For me, that's an L off top.
Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
We measure impact on so many things, so why are you not measuring impact on the diss record?
I think that the impact is being minimized because of who it is and because of the lack of responding. I'm measuring it by the impact of the individual that you're going at also.
So you're saying it's that Illuminati?
Mm-hmm. Not Illuminati, it's just industry politics. Like, look, the industry's highly invested in Eminem. He sells a lot of records. And if he goes out there and loses a battle, that's a big hit to his aura of the fact that all of his fans continuously say, oh, he'll end your career. Oh, don't nobody want it with Eminem. Don't nobody want this and that with Eminem. He's a super battle rapper. All that shit goes away if you come at game and respond to this. It does. So the best way to keep a legacy like that intact is to not say anything and allow your fans to make excuses for you and allow people to say that the record wasn't good enough to get responded to in the first place. So to answer your question, I think that the quote-unquote impact has been minimized because of the bigger agenda to keep their biggest selling artists afloat.
Mm-hmm.
What say you? Is that conspiracy theory? Or is that just business?
It's pretty deep, so I hate to do this. No, it is pretty deep. And I hate to always juxtapose back to this, but a lot of this is part of what I tell you is like goat talk. Well, look at the situation that Nas was in before he dropped Ether. Ether did what it did because the record was there, Mike.
Yeah.
And for everything that you're saying, Like you were telling Dumb It Down on our Patreon that you felt like he was making excuses. And now I'm going to submit the same thing back to you, the same way that you did respectfully is that, well, no, Mike, like when the record's like that, it kind of breaks through a lot of those barriers and those walls that you're talking about. Because when Nas dropped Ether, Jay was as an impenetrable force of an MC on his throne as we had seen since Rakim. And even when Rakim had it like that, there were people that felt like Kane and KRS were better. So like he had a couple people. It was just Nas, and like people had this impenetrable force that was Jay. And Ether took that down. The quality of the record took that down. And that's why I'm telling you, like, that this record isn't like that and how impact matters. And the impact kind of relates back to the quality. Like, Fight the Power isn't the greatest rap song of all time just because it has a great message.
But hold on. Let me rewind. Why
the rhymes,
isn't
the beats, the
why
lines
isn't
are
the
dope.
record like that?
Hmm?
Why isn't the record like that?
It's just, no, I mean, just on a quality level, it just doesn't hit that.
Why?
And some of it is the length, Mike.
You know what? No, I'll tell you why. Because he took on this man's style, and none of his records are like that. That's just the facts. Nothing else on that Drillmatic album sounds like that.
Talk about on the Patreon.
He chose to take on this man's style to show you how ridiculous his shit sounds, and you're right. That's exactly why it's not like that. We just
talked about this on the Patreon, though, Mike. If we have to talk about more about the qualities and the stylistic givings of the song that make us bring the song together, other than just playing the motherfucking records, and the record's not all the way like that.
No, but
same way we're having this dissertation about the record is the problem with the record. The same way I told you that that's the problem with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. That's the problem with 444. All the talking about all the stuff that they're doing. It's like, oh, we talking about what they're doing with the music, how the music sounds.
It's different when you're talking about
the talk game better than the music.
No, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is the reason why it doesn't hit like that is because he's taking on the dude's style. And I think that part of it is the creativity of the diss record. And
well, maybe
it also lets you know.
Maybe he need to separate the diss records and do a part 1 and part 2 and let's see.
It was a bait record. It was a bait record. All right, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Very problematic.
Because it's so crazy, like it's so crazy, like when M does the, what was it? The other one he did against Benzino, not the Sauce, but the was it Quitter? No, that was the one with Everlast. But you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was one of them goofy ass songs. But people were cool with that. You were cool with the goofy shit. So what he did as bait, let me go with the goofy shit.
It wasn't top 10.
Because no, stop.
Saying it's top 10.
Can
you scale your expectations and be a little bit?
No, this is what I'm saying. The reason why, because
is it a dope diss
the greatest battle rapper ever is silenced.
He's not the.
I mean, that's what they say. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Mike, it's not worth the response, LOL. Okay, it's not worth the response? So I guess the MGK's record was worth the response, right? I guess Nick Cannon's verses are worth the response, huh? Oh, no. Everlast stuff is worth the response. Oh, no. Was it Benzino's shit was worth 2 responses, huh? I guess Ja Rule's shit was worth the response, huh? Cut that out, y'all. You talking about making excuses. Worth the response. Who the fuck is he supposed to be? He ain't battled nobody. He's battled Fred Durst, man. Talking about worth the response. Y'all act like this man Jigga Man or something, or Tupac. Like these guys went against the greats. We done went through Nas's resume when it comes to this battle shit. Ridiculous. He ain't seen nothing like that. Cause like I said, when Styles P and Jada and them were torching 50, he was waiting in the wings. He ain't want none of that checkmate shit. He didn't want any of that. None of it. And that's just real. It seems like he don't want nothing with Game either. It's not about the record, it's about the person. Y'all know he don't want it with Game. That's clear. And stop acting like that's not the facts. Stop acting like it's about the record. It's clear what Game did on the record. He mocked his whole style, whatever. This ain't about the record. This is about the person. You don't want it with this 300 bars and running nigga. You don't. He doesn't want that. He clearly didn't want it with Styles P and Jada. He didn't. Shit, he didn't even want it with Royce when Royce was going to D12. Anyway, Mad Max to the Super.
Business. That's family business. Stay out of family business, Mike.
I mean, it's just real. He didn't. When Royce had a problem and was going to D12, he said nothing to them. He waited till Cannabis went to the Army and didn't even have a record contract anymore.
Family business with the Royce thing, though.
Mad Max to the Super Chat. It's just hip hop history. We got to be real. Mad Max says, LOL. LL dissed and Cannabis was close. Mike back to back has quotables too. Is that a world tour or your girl tour? This ain't what she meant when she said you need to open up more. Great bars.
It is. It's
Great
better.
bars.
I'm sorry. It's better.
36 Chambers with a super chat.
It's a better song.
It's a dope song. 36 Chambers with a super chat says, Bizarre alluded in Hip Hop DX interview that September that Stat Quo wrote those bars, which is why Game stayed in the same flow the whole time.
Stat Quo wrote what bars?
He's saying that Stat Quo wrote the Black Slim Shady. Listen, man, we don't need all that stuff, man. He's B-Rabbit. He's a super battle rapper. Just beat Game. What's the problem? You know, if he ends careers like that, man, he should be able to just jump out there, put out a diss record, and Game was done, right? Mad Max says, shout out to all my boss chicks, wife and niggas. Like, come on now, people. People wanted Meek to win, but when Drake came with that, we said he got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what he say? Is it
in the industry didn't try to
girl
influence
tour?
Yeah.
It's like
you getting bodied by a singing nigga. Yeah. Yeah.
When he said you getting bodied by a singing nigga is when it was over. Because that's actually how a rap nigga like me feels on the inside. That's how I was feeling about Drake. It's like, how y'all crowning this singing nigga, though?
I think what was so cool, though, not to interrupt you, is the fact that he had charged up already out there. And then this record was like, nigga, I'm coming with another one, man. Where you at?
How about this? You know what? Back to back is very takeover, like from the perspective that Drake is talking the way a fan talks.
Yeah.
It's very takeover, like that's what I mean. That's a top 10 diss record, maybe. Not this. Think about it. He's on J level, takeover level, like in terms of talking conversationally, not like a star, not like a superstar, but like a fan. Is that an award tour or your girl tour? This ain't what you mean when she told you to open up more. That's street nigga talk.
And that's his like,
Drake.
And that's Nicki. Drake. That's like his label mate and everything. You know, like he's surgical with it on there because I think he released it the day that Toronto was playing. The Blue Jays were playing the
not
Phillies
even
or
when
something.
She say,
it was crazy.
Not even when she say we better off as friends. Oh.
Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, I would like to ask Bomani Jones why he took a job. Kendall Outlaw says, I would like to ask Bomani Jones why he took a job at ESPN after being on radio. Was it for the money? Of course it was for the money. It's always for the money. And, you know.
He was on First Take the other day. I saw Stephen A. invited him on to defend himself. Stephen A. actually didn't agree with his take, but he gave him a platform to speak.
And he also, you know, bigged him up as an intellectual and this and that, blah, blah, blah. You know, again, I know people had some issue with our take on it as well. I saw it in some of the comments in the actual post. But at the end of the day, guys, y'all can say, you know, I think a lot of people are saying, look, both people are right and blah, blah, blah. No, at the end of the day, these schools should have the money to be able to pay somebody that brought you all the money. Where did the money go? Y'all want this man to go out here and let's be real and not sugarcoat it. Y'all want this man to work for charity. HBCUs have gotten this level of entitlement to charity from prominent black people and shit to the government too. Let's just be real about it. And not to go too far off subject, but you know.
No. This is what the problem is. What you calling the boule?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called now?
Yeah.
I know what I call them where I'm from. In Charlotte, where I'm from, I call them some bougie ass niggas.
Yeah.
So these bougie ass niggas, These bougie ass niggas think that they too good to think like hustlers and promoters. And here's really what they should have been doing.
Yep.
They should have been telling Dion, okay, we can't really afford to pay you, but just your presence alone is going to bring in XXXXX. So we need you to do this amount of speaking engagements here. And we're going to let you take 20% of the gate from this. 5% of the gate from the Jackson State football games is going to go towards paying your salary. Yep. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there were ways to even use and promote him outside of football to allocate the funds and the resources just based on who he is to bring in money to pay him. And I'm pretty certain that he would have done it because it would have been good community outreach. And
they should have been doing that shit the day that he signed on the dotted line.
That's what I'm saying. Like they should have had this mapped out. Like he should have had an itinerary outside of football. Exactly. Especially for what his mission is and for what he wants to do. And I'm pretty certain he would have gotten it, especially if it wouldn't have gotten him paid. And here's what I mean about thinking like a promoter. When you can't afford to play the artist, what do? You give him some of the bar and give him some of the gate.
Exactly. Especially after that first championship.
Now, you telling me Dion ain't worth some of the Jackson State gate?
But see, this is the thing, Coop. They knew that if it came down to having to pay him, they could try to shame him out there in the media and act like he wasn't pure with his intentions of their institutions. Man, fuck all that, man. Stop the charity. People got to get paid.
The Pac-12 championship in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, exactly. People got to get paid for the work that they're doing. You guys are making money or were making money off of Dion's presence, his results, his recruits. Where's the money at? And you know what I'm saying? And anybody sitting out here getting in the media trying to trash him for the decisions he made, you suspect. And that goes for Bomani too. And I like Bomani's takes before all of this, but there's no way to really excuse this. You know, everything that he was saying, even when he was talking to Stephen A, was like, sounds like BS to me. Any institution shouldn't want that kind of charity in the first place. I tagged you in something that I saw on, I think it was on Facebook or whatever.
I saw it.
Yeah, and it was talking about the Ken Griffey Jr. shit or whatever. Charity. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some
Very problematic.
At some point, our HBCUs got to get out of this whole charity mentality. God damn. Can we not make any money?
But this is what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, Mike. This is some real it's a con artist move. It's a hustler move. Listen to what I'm saying. Because you got this boule living in these $1 million homes in the States, running these institutions and organizations and claiming that they're helping the black middle class and people. And then they sit up there and go stick their hand out about the institution and university. This is supposed to be a pipeline to greater wealth and success for African Americans in this nation, which is what a HBCU is designed to be. You understand? A HBCU now, and this is what I mean, when you have to bring these financial issues to light and speak in the manner that you do, and I'm not condemning you for it. When Dion speaks to the facility issues in terms of competitively being able to be on par with even, forget Division I, Division II and III. You know, like let's keep it real. And all of these things start coming out. Well, how is this a breeding ground for black success?
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like I don't know, and I tell you realistically how I feel as a black parent that comes from an inner city. In impoverished upbringing and circumstances, and has been fortunate enough that my daughter has not been subjected to any of those things, but she has been subjected to more whiteness, or what we have discussed many times, her and I, pretty much since she about 9 or 10, of the whitewashing of some of the children up here in the area that I live in. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The only thing that a HBCU is giving me right now, viably, as a parent, to send my daughter off to them, is the fact that she's going to be on her own, with her own, but not much more after that. Like academically, institutionally, financially, structurally, you get what I'm saying?
It's not enough. I'm sorry. And it's
correct.
Correct. Especially for what you're paying for.
Right. So when she's coming to me wanting to go to Hampton, or wanting to go to Howard, or wanting to go to North Carolina A&T, her great-grandfather's alma mater, my grandfather's alma mater. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, right now, Mike, the answer be no. Like, the answer be no, sweetie.
I
It's like
mean,
we're gonna have to go see. Maybe North Carolina A&T is gonna get a look. North Carolina A&T gets automatic look, but outside of A&T, like and that's familial and like home and like outside of A&T, it's like HBCU's not even getting a look right now
and
at
it's
my
not
daughter.
because of, like you said, it's just not. At the end of the day, to put it in just one sentence, they're just not competitive enough on any level,
Can I tell you
unfortunately.
something?
And
Like,
that can be changed, but currently, as it stands, they're just not competitive enough.
hey, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I went to a mostly white school when I left. I went to UNCG. I went to Greensboro, and I'm gonna tell you why I went to UNC Greensboro, Mike. When I went to all the other black college campuses that I wanted to go to, like I seen how they was living, and I was thinking to myself, it's like no, like I've been living in the projects.
Yeah.
Like that's why I chose UNC Greensboro because when I seen the other HBCU dorms and stuff, I'm like, no, like I'm supposed to lead a block and go on the block. Now I guess for maybe some of the suburban kids, they thought it was a humbling experience. It wasn't humbling for me. I was tired of that shit.
You're right. Swoosh Kid with the super chat says, wasn't Dre and Cube album called Helter Skelter? Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Does anybody have that album?
Does anybody even have 3 tracks?
I saw somebody in the chat say something I want to respond to. It was about, if Game's song was good enough, then M would respond. It doesn't matter if he would have made Ether. He wouldn't have responded.
I agree with you on that.
It
But
doesn't
I don't think the record
so
is
let's
there,
not
though.
put it on the quality of the record, blah, blah, blah. If anything, when you talk about a baiting record and him actually mimicking his style or whatever, I think the record was good enough for a response. But even if Game would have went out there with a 300 bars and running, people would have been like, oh, he's clout chasing. He's trying to sell records. He's trying to get attention. It would have been all kind of excuses so that this man wouldn't jump in the ring with somebody who, in my opinion, would slaughter him. And obviously, he knows that he would slaughter him because we're not ever going to hear a diss record.
Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
Can't all of those things that we've been kind of like talking about back and forth, can't like pieces of all of them be true? Like, can it be that even if this record was Ether level that he wouldn't respond, but can it also be that the quality of this record maybe isn't top 10-ish? And maybe some of that is true because of what you're saying is his interpretation of an Eminem song per se, or so to speak. And maybe Eminem does feel like quality-wise this is above the fray and he doesn't have anything to gain by it. And maybe Game is doing this to maybe highlight some things about hip-hop culture, which can be perceived as clout chasing to some and as necessary to others. Like, can it be all of those things?
Because I think all of those things are true.
Isn't that what great moments and great people really make you do? They make you think and push the boundaries of stuff. So what I would tell you is that him doing this pushes the boundaries of things more than anything else. And I find that to be important.
Yeah, and I love the approach. I'm glad he took this approach as opposed to like a pest control approach. You know what I mean? Because if he would have taken that type of approach, then they would have been on some, oh, whoa, that's too much, man. Like, what's your problem?
Formulated. Why are you being intimidated?
Yeah, they would have acted like he was going to kill the man or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kill the man that's talked about killing his baby mother and sons multiple times. I knew you were going there.
He definitely
would have beat you to the punch.
Exactly. They're like, oh, man, this big 6'6" black guy is really coming at Eminem. We need to heighten up security. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, okay, so what was Game's reason for the diss? He was clout chasing and everyone knows it. That's why it's not worth a reply. His reason was being competitive. They said that this guy's the best battle rapper or whatnot. Then he said he was better. That's the only reason. Hip hop is competitive, right? And that's usually okay unless you say something about Eminem, then it's wrong, right? He said he was better than the guy, and he went out there and made a diss record to prove it. And people say he's clout chasing.
You're not about to talk about me and me not take shots. Like, I'm gonna take some shots. Like, even if you don't get a full diss record, you're gonna get some jabs and uppercuts and crosses and hook. Like, you're gonna feel these hands.
Yeah, he just said that he's a better rapper than him. I mean, he was asked that in the interview. And come on, guys, let's not sit here and act like y'all didn't live this whole thing. This didn't happen 10 years ago. It was an interview. He said he was a better rapper than Eminem. People said he was crazy, and then he came with this record. That's what happened. That's why he came with the record. He didn't just come up with the shit out of nowhere. Y'all knew it was coming too. Let's not act crazy now. Frank Wizard with the super chat says, maybe M is too old to respond, Mike. Real heads know M beats up a lower tier of rappers. I mean, I don't think he ever would have responded. Because again, when 50 was in it with Styles and Jada in them, nothing. I mean, tell me a time that he's ever responded to all those people that 50 was going at, even when he was in his prime. Royce was going at D12. Nothing. 007 says, did Drake write that Meek diss? Asking for a friend.
It's very shady.
Who knows? Jay Short with the super chat says, the ghetto. Life is too short. I'm a player. Get the cheese. Blow the whistle. Freaky tales. I want to be free. From the ground up with 40. BJ Betty. Man, Too Short got a catalog.
Short dog.
Jay Short with the super chat says Captain Saberho concept came from 40. He invented the red pill. Y'all riding with 40 today. I love to see it. 4-5 the hero with the super chat says sad part is all these people saying Dion wasn't pure are the same ones not going to do anything with the HBCUs in the aftermath, including Bomani Jones. Well, visibility with the super chat says Jackson State could have eventually played bigger games on a national TV again against D1 schools, which is always a big payday, and set up the revenue share with Dion. Yeah. Oh, shout out to Damaris in the room. Damaris went to Alabama State with me. So, he says, how many people are complaining or paying their alumni fees? Shout out to Damaris, man. I had an incredible time at Alabama State, by the way. And I met some lifelong friends. I was there 1 year. I was like, yo, I gotta make it pop in Atlanta or whatever. But I loved the experience. But I did notice, even when I was there then, and Damaris can contest to this, that was a year that we won the SWAC in basketball. And so they threw us in that tournament. I want to say that we had to face either Duke or Carolina that year. Blown out. And I just never understood, being a all-black institution, why, from an athletic standpoint, we were so inferior.
No, that's not necessarily an HBCU thing. UNC Greensboro suffered the same fate. We have been like number 64 in the tournament, like on 2 or 3 separate occasions, including one of the years that I was there and had to play like the powerhouse and get blown out.
Yeah.
Duke of Carolina 1 year. Yeah. So that is like a talent gap thing, Mike. Like some of that's just a talent gap. And I hate to say it, is like it's really at the all white schools and the all black schools where there's the talent gap. But when you get the black kids to go to the predominantly white school, for some reason, it seems to flourish and take flight. Now I wonder exactly why that is. Fascinating.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, who do you guys think would be members of the East Coast version of the Mount Eastmore would be?
See, I mean, okay, so I'm leaving Nas and Jay and Big out of it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I look at these 4 guys as kind of like pioneer-like figures. Mm-hmm. And so I would go the generation before, and that would be Rakim and G-Rap and Kane and KRS, I would say.
All right, so if I would mirror it to this, I'm going to have to put Slick Rick in there, because I feel like...
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about Slick Rick and LL, too.
Yeah, I'm thinking LL...
You got to add style guys, right?
Yeah, LL's more of the Cube guy, where Slick Rick's more of the Snoop short guy, maybe.
Slick Rick is everything.
Yeah, Slick Rick is everything. I would like to see LL, Slick Rick, who both share a birthday, by the way.
Fascinating.
And damn, I would like to see Kane in that, and then KRS. I think that's an interesting combination.
No. We need some streets, so we got to have Kool G.
You got to have Kool G Rap. Okay.
Yeah. Like how about this?
Cool G Rap instead. Yeah, because I think Kane and LL kind of cancel each other out.
Not to be funny, but it's like I don't know if Slick Rick and LL are going to work.
Yeah, Kane and LL kind of cancel each other out too. So it might be more of a Slick Rick, Kool G Rap, KRS Rakim jump off.
I don't know if I love that. Actually, back up. What about Kane? KRS, Slick Rick, and G-Rap.
Okay, you're leaving Ryle.
We're leaving Ron and LL out. which is actually the best hit maker and the best lyricist. But I think that kind of makes sense because it's like, well, Tupac's not pounding Mount Westmore.
Well, we know, right? And we know what
Well, for obvious reasons. But
we know what Kane and Cool G Rap sound like together. We know KRS can blend with everything, and Slick Rick just sounds great on everything.
Slick Rick.
Yeah. 36 Chambers says Mount Eastmore, Jay-Z, Nas, Rakim, KRS. KRS got that voice, man.
I was thinking about live performance too.
Yeah. 4-5 the hero with the super chat says when Sparks Fly should have got Song of the Year contention. I feel like there was another Song of the Year that we missed, man. And it'll come to me in a minute. Melvin Wright says so far after 20 years, he just decided that he's better. Yeah. That's possible.
Sometimes that's how it happens.
Yeah. So what? You know what? After 20 years, he probably didn't realize how much they were going to inflate this man's legacy. And after 20 years, he's no longer on Interscope where he has to say that this man's the greatest.
And people have primes, quite frankly. It's like I've been telling people for a minute. It's like, certain players have been better than certain other players for a while. It's just you're looking at the player's legacy.
Exactly. How about this? Speaking of the 20 years, right? Let's just say when they initially asked Game, he's on album number 2, maybe 3. This man's looked at what he's done over his career, looking back at his catalog and looking at this other person's catalog and says, you know what? I'm better.
Mm-hmm.
Is that crazy? He's looking back at Jesus Pieces. He's looking back at, the documentary 2.5. He's looking back on everything.
Jesus Piece.
Yeah, Jesus Piece. LAX. He's looking back on the Doctor's Advocate. He's looking back on the documentary. He's looking at Ale Boombaye. He's looking at Red Album. He's looking at everything. Yeah.
He's like, I got bangers everywhere.
And he's looking at the trash this guy's making. And he's probably like, yeah, I'm better. What's wrong with that, Melvin, right?
No, that's... You want to know what? I'm going to tell you something. Kevin Durant once made comments about Kawhi when Kawhi was in San Antonio, and he was like, he came up in a system. It's like he was the fourth option for so many years. He's like, and he's trying to tell these guys, it's like, nothing against him, but he's not comparable to me because it's like, well, I've been the first option from the moment that I walked on a basketball court.
Real?
He's the fourth option. He's just now becoming the first option. He's like, I'm not saying that he's like a system player. I'm saying a great system can take a guy that's a fourth option and make him into a first option, but he not me. Now look at what's happened over the course of time. Like, you remember all these guys that was talking about how Kawhi was the best in the league and all this? It's like, no. You're talking about a moment. You're not talking about the totality. You're talking about a moment.
Speaking of a moment,
hold on. Look. Who look 34 right now, Kawhi or KD? Because Kawhi's about 4 years younger than KD.
Yeah, you're right.
It looked like KD about to play longer than Kawhi.
Yeah.
Definitely playing better.
To play devil's advocate, though, after Kawhi won in Toronto, where obviously KD...
Great system. They already had a system
KD
in place.
KD was sitting. Somebody would have been able to make an argument that, he was the number one option there. But again, that's why time tells the story. So system 20 years later, you can make a real assessment 20 years later.
In real talk, like KD didn't even need to be healthy. If Clay would have been healthy, they would have lost that series, Mike. Like that's one of the shakiest. Like that ring is as shaky a ring as it gets because it's like Golden State lost Clay and KD.
It was basically Steph and Kawhi then. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Mike.
A hype game.
CJ Kidd says, Mike, just do what you feel. Come out of retirement and give M 300 bars, man. Just do it. He's not going to respond. He's not responding to game. He ain't going to respond to my ass. I ain't wasting my bars. On my time. Jay Short to look like an old hater. Jay Short with the super chat says, I never want to hear Jay and Nas on the same track again. Wow. I think they can redeem what they've done. I mean, we played Black Republican on our station head like a couple of days ago. And it's clearly the best,
It's the best pairing.
It's the best pairing that they've done. But again, just like how I said about the whole Ninth Wonder and Jay possibly having it in him to give us a reasonable doubt type feel of a project,
Mm-hmm.
I still believe that those two can come together and make a dope record. Like I just, you know what I mean? And I think really now would be a better time than any because I don't think that the competitiveness is at the place that it was at before. I think they would be able to have a lot more fun with a record now.
That's possible.
You know what I mean?
But I think
Because
Nas's run has maybe even changed that and kind of stained that a little bit too.
yeah, Nas is having fun right now.
Right, but what if he were to dust Jay off right now?
I mean, you know, would we be surprised? He'd have made 4
The populace
albums
would
in
be
2.5 years.
I mean, we would not be inside of hip hop circles probably, but the populace would be. Yes.
Mm. 4 or 5 the hero with the super chat says Grandmaster Cass love. Yeah. I like Grandmaster Cass being on something. I think you would have to do it East more like in generations. We about to get through these super chats and get to this Mount West more because I don't want to get too far off. We already outran. Mad Max says Rakim, Kane, Cool G Rap, LL, Mount Eastmore. LL might be the mainstream guy to pick because I do like having LL there with these spitters because LL's a spitter too. But Slick Rick can give you the hooks and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You need you an X Factor character when you're putting a group together. Slick Rick is like the ultimate X Factor. You need your streets, so that's G Rap, and then it's bar work. But then it's like, but I think about performance. That's why I went with KRS and Kane.
Jay Short's asking who would be Mount Southmore.
Scarface, T.I., Lil Wayne, fill in the fourth.
3,000.
That's cool because you need the Slick Rick effect.
Yeah.
Even for the South. I'm cool with 3,000 being the fourth guy.
I think 3,000 and Wayne might cancel each other out in this situation, though.
Nah. Wayne can't do what 3,000 can do.
No, I agree. But I mean, as far as like hook work and stuff like that.
I'm not the biggest fan of Wayne's hooks like that. That's why I'm saying that. I'm trying to say that respectfully. It's
Duffel
like has a spitter, no, but has a hook guy. That's what I mean when like I'm saying Andre can be that Slick Rick X Factor. It's like, no, that hook game, the singing, the melody, that differentiation, that's something different that's understandable. Like Andre is different, but understandable.
He is.
Like think about his verse on the Carter 4.
Yeah.
Today I wore, what did it say, neon gray. Tonight I wore electric black. It's the Faro, 3 stacks. I woke up in Cairo looking at stars so bright at the start. I thought they were marbles. What you call those? A whole parlo of raw. You know what I mean? Like he does that. Like when he does that, yeah.
He's given us his Slick Rick effect many times. He did it on Can't Wait. He did it on Trans DF Express, in my opinion. Yeah, with the whole purple fur and all that. Hit me to the hop like a Digilog frog. Throw me the cat and I'll throw you the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Khalees joint, My Mama a Millionaire.
Yeah.
Where there are cheese, there are rats. Wherever there are rats, there are cats. Wherever there are cats, there are dogs. If you got the dogs, you got bitches. Yeah. Bitches always out to put their paws on your riches.
If you got riches, you got glitches. If you got glitches in your life computer, turn it off and then reboot it. Now you back on, something like that.
Yeah. You know he wrote that song too, the mama. Mm-hmm. You know he wrote the whole song.
Yeah, and produced it. Web Visibility with the super chat says Mount Eastmore is Rakim, KRS-One, Chuck D. I like the Chuck D pick, and G-Rap. Let's see. 4-5 the hero says the underrated Mount Eastmore would be Redman, Big L, Inspector
Chuck D is not about to work with Cool G-Rap talking the way Cool G-Rap talk.
Mad Max says, Cool, relax. Kawhi just a diva, but every post, Suns Kawhi been the best post. I'm sorry. Every postseason, Kawhi been the best postseason player, and Clay healthy or not, they would lose. They rushed KD back because Kawhi was destroying them dudes. Barely won 2 games. You know what? I will say this. Do you remember that season where I think Kawhi was still in San Antonio? And
Game 1 against Golden State, and they were busting their ass.
Yeah, man. and then they pulled that dirty play on Kawhi and took him out the
Zaza
game.
Pachulia took him
Yep,
out.
Zaza. Yep, that's
Now here's what I
exactly
tell
what
you.
happened.
Now here's what I'll tell you. This is what I mean. You're talking about that season. You can go to the Toronto season. You can go to a finals performance against LeBron. Now look at what Kevin Durant and LeBron been doing for 15 and 20 years respectively, and tell me that it's the same thing. That's what KD was talking about.
You're right. It's moments.
You're talking about a guy that flashes.
Yeah.
You understand? I do that every day, regular season, postseason, in my sleep, versus the guy who flashes. Kevin Durant tore his ACL. He came back and averaged 30.
You're right.
What Kawhi averaging?
You're right. No.
Right.
Because as much as I love people like Kawhi and Jimmy Butler, they're more flashes where guys like LeBron and Durant have to do this every day.
You know, Kevin Durant's played every game this year. There ain't been no load management. He's one of the league leaders in minutes played. He's averaging 30 again. You want to know why? Because he really can average 30 and not try. You know how many people are averaging 30 right now and not taking 20 shots a game? There's only one. Guess what his name is?
Kevin Durant.
Right.
Yeah. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, shouts to 4-5. I'm sorry, shouts to 4-5. Always wanted Deck, Fife, and Prodigy on the track. 3 verses full of quotables. Call the track, quote this. 4-5 the hero says, MJG, Mount Southmore. I love MJG, man.
I was actually thinking, what do you think about Scarface, MJG, Pimp C? We might have to go by air with the South too. Because I'll tell you what.
I know it might sound crazy, but
I'll take some Project Pat with them.
I want Pimp C in there, and I want to take out either Wayne or 3000. I think that changes
either one. Whoever you want to take out, I'm okay with putting Pimp C in.
Yeah. Jay Short says, Face, Bun, CeeLo, and MJG. I like that combination.
Here's the thing. No. If we got Pimp, we got production and hook work already taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Production and your hook work's taken care of.
Yeah. I mean, and quotables are taken care of. Like, whenever Pimp C jumps on the track, you're going to have something that people can repeat. I mean, even with 3000 being on International Players Anthem and doing what he did and basically setting the whole scene for the video, Pimp C still probably has the most memorable part. I mean, it's just how and whenever he jumps on the track, you're going to get quotables. Yeah. I mean, he on a song with
T.I. Scarface and...
Because I love hearing Pimp C and T.I. together.
I'm cool going by air.
I think T.I. and Pimp C
because think about this. Pimp C, Scarface, MJG, and Project Pat.
I mean,
and then we could go like Wayne, T.I. I mean, Pusha T's a Southern rapper technically, Mike.
Oh,
you think Pusha T and Wayne go?
Well, I guess Pusha T is a Southern rapper.
From Virginia.
That's true.
Southern state. Used to, Richmond, Norfolk.
Yeah, don't let Pimp C hear you say that. Pimp C be like, he ain't the South. But yeah, he is.
He is.
But I think that's a whole... Well, what about J. Cole then?
It's getting very, very deep. We're going to have to go by region. We're going to have to go by area. We're going to section it off by years.
Yeah.
We're going to see who qualifies for what years.
4-5 the hero says, you can easily do a mixtape for the Southmore. Definitely. Eric Terrell says, y'all give 3000 that love, then took it back. No, that's not the case. I would never do that. I love 3000.
3000 is some of our inspiration. I mean, I don't think, Mike, have you been inspired to rap more as an ATLian and local and native more than anybody other than
3000 is my number one inspiration. If we're gonna narrow it down to one person, I would say Outkast obviously is a group, but if we narrow it down to one person, 3000 is my number one inspiration.
As an MC, Mike, he's the person that made me believe that I can MC as a Southern MC at a high level. He is the reason that I believe.
Yeah. His thought process.
And I'm not the only guy that feels that way. There are literally hundreds of thousands of us that feel that way about him.
His thought process verse changed everything. I saw it happen while I was in school. Like, he was the guy that people were quoting down the hallways. And then when the Elevators verse came, I mean, forget about it.
When people started dressing like him in Charlotte, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So some of the stuff that we say, we're just trying to be objective here.
Yeah.
And it's not coming from a Scorn fan's perspective. I just don't want for Outkast's legacy to get lost in one individual because both of them brought something very, very special to that collective. And
Well,
as special as what Andre brought to the collective is the same level of what Big Boy brought to the collective as well, because that was the stability of the group. That was the street core part of the group. And as we always say, hip hop is the streets. You're not going anywhere in hip hop without having that street element. If Dre was
well,
by himself doing that stuff, it wouldn't have flown. You need
no.
Big Boy there to balance that out.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. I like that you highlight the thought process first, and here's why. I can remember the first album, Mike, and it was conversational who was the better MC between the two on the first album for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Between Big Boy and Andre. So people need to understand it wasn't until Thought Process and then Benzo or Beamer, which was around the same time because Benzo or Beamer was the B-side to Cell Therapy. It was, so you have to understand, on Southern Playalistic, there's not a great separation of the MCs. But when you hear him in 95 on Thought Process and hear him on Benzo or Beamer next to Big Boy, you like, oh, and then you hear Elevators and it's like, oh shit. But understand, they started off on very similar ground.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I tell you, and this is what I tell people. On the first album, they're comparable on 96. And so on 94, comparable. 96, second album, Dre's a superior MC and one of the best MCs in the game.
They both stepped it up, though. You know what I mean? It's
No,
not like
they both
Big
stepped
Boy
it up. But
stayed
Dre is a literal top 5, top 10 MC in 96. You know?
Yeah.
Like actual and factual. For a Southern MC not named Scarface in 96, that's major. But in 1998, Mike, with Aquemini, what you found is that Big Boy had actually caught up and had become a top flight MC, like despite coast or region. And so sometimes,
not to mention those features in that era. When you look at All in My Grill, you look at 85 with Youngbloods. You look at what he did
with Trick Daddy.
Yeah, well, that was a little bit later, but I was gonna say the Slick Rick joint.
Yeah, Street Talk.
Street Talking with Slick Rick, like, and not to mention on a local level, you had Love in Your Mouth with Kilo. Like, Big Boy was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that what sometimes goes as a misnomer, and this is how like information gets diluted on the time. We understand they started off right here, and then Dre went here, and Big Boy kind of went here. But by 98, like Big Boy kind of like caught up to Dre and was like there, and has pretty much been kind of there since then. It's like, is he the top 5 all-time talent that Andre is? No, but are you hearing a A1 MC and a top 20 to 30 MC? Yes, you are.
Well, I think the other part of it is, and what we've kind of discovered even doing
he's
this
got
show,
output that speaks to his greatness.
right, as a soloist. But what we've also discovered as we've done this show is the fact that a lot of those great Outkast records, Big Boy's kind of the brains behind it, you know? So we can't sit here and just, you know, and obviously, you know, Dre is an incredible lyricist, but we can't put Outkast's catalog on him individually when many of these songs that we love so much come from the brain of Big Boy.
How about this? Here's all people really need to know. This is for all the ATLian fans. ATLians is their rap album, right, Mike?
That's their boom bap album, in my opinion.
Who do you think is the real author of that boom bap album? Because Big Boy's telling you on ATLians, every day I be.
Well, every day I sit while my nigga be in school thinking about the second album at the dungeon shooting pool.
Listen to the hooks.
Yeah.
Throw your hands in the air.
That's Big Boy.
Wave them like you just don't care. It's just 2 dope boys in a Cadillac. Me and you.
Yeah.
Yo mama. Now, does that sound like Andre on those singles, or does that sound like Big Boy? So the album that everybody loves from Outkast so much, understand it's like, well, Big Boy appears to be the framework and the bones of it.
Mm-hmm.
Andre's coming in and filling in the gaps of what Big Boy is building out.
No, facts. And we got to give credit where credit's due, and I think that the best way to do that is just to rank Outkast as a collective. I don't like people pulling Andre out and singling him out. If you want to do that for, I guess, his feature work as an individual, fine. But don't start throwing in Outkast stuff in his solo catalog when that's a collective. Big Boy had a lot to do with those records, man.
Like, here's what I'm saying. The Andre records on there, or like Millennium,
Mm-hmm.
Extraterrestrial, Wailing. Those records ain't gonna go platinum, double platinum now, are they?
But he ain't even got the hooks on those records either.
He's not singing hooks. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
him. No, that's straight out of Andre book.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Extraterrestrial is Witch Doctor on the hook, and Wailing is CeeLo on the hook. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mainstream is Cujo.
yeah. I mean, we just
That's
gotta
what I'm
call it what it
saying.
is.
That's what I mean.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, always wondered why Face and Andre never did a track, considering
Hold on.
people picked them either as the best from the South to be based on how people talk about them. They are the Jay-Z and Nas of the South.
Hold on. And look, Babylon, which is arguably the strongest record on AT Aliens, that Sounds of Blackness and Bobby Valentino. That's Bobby Valentino singing.
Is that Bobby on that hook? I thought that was somebody else.
I thought that was Bobby. Isn't that Bobby?
Somebody else.
I'm pretty certain that's Bobby. It just sound different. It's 96, Mike. That's young Bobby.
I don't know. Look that up real quick. Eric Terrell says,
I know it Sounds of Blackness, isn't it?
I think it might be, but I remember seeing the name on the credits, but I don't remember it being like Bobby Valentino or anything. Eric Terrell says,
I remember it being Sounds of Blackness, and then I felt like I saw a version where it got changed to like Sounds of Blackness featuring Bobby V. And that's what made me say that.
Eric Terrell says, Ross, 8 Ball, Master P, and 3000. We forgot about Ross. Ross needs consideration. Jay Short says,
we can put Ross with T.I. and Wayne.
And Pusha T.
And Push. Yep.
Jay Short says, can you imagine J. Cole on an album with Pusha T, Ross, and Chains? Oh, that would be hard. We would fade to black despite his bars. He would fade to black despite his bar work.
Okay. It says Andrea Martin.
Andrea Martin, okay. 5 for the Hero says, what would y'all say is the most difficult margin of error? 3 full verses or 1 dynamic verse per song? In defense of 3000 GOAT status. I mean, obviously, the most difficult margin of error is 3 full verses. That's why we just heralded what Nas just did, taking on this album with 17 tracks for Dolo. I mean, if you got to write 116, it's just my opinion, right? As somebody who has had to do both. You do have enough, and I agree with Andre when he's talking about 16 ain't enough. You have a whole creative landscape when you got to write 3 verses. You can kind of build the story and this and that. But when you only have 16 bars to do it, your margin for error is way smaller. It's literally like asking Steph Curry to make 3 threes in a row. You can do that. Now ask him to make 15 in a row. Which one is the greater margin of error? You can go 100% shooting 3 threes in a row, but shooting 15, you might miss 1. You might miss 2. You might miss 3.
Not if you're Steph, but I'm hearing you.
But you know what I mean. Just, it's a numbers game. And even just say, this is say you're not Steph. Let's just say you're Damian Lillard, a great 3-point shooter, but not a perfect 3-point shooter, right?
Yeah, Damian's more like a 77 to 82% free throw shooter.
So even
really
if
good.
you go 2 for 3, that's greater than you going, 10
But
for
that's
15.
still 66%. Though.
Exactly. It's still 66% missing 1. Eric Terrell with the Super Chat says, I love the show. I respect y'all opinion. I'm just standing up for 3000 because him and Big Boy is my favorite group. Before that, I was a Tribe guy. I'm both.
Sound like Mike.
I'm both. AK
Curtain
says,
system.
AK Curtain says, Cole, Crit, Fonte, and Currency. For the
Nobody
era.
want to listen to that. Ain't nobody about to listen to that.
What? I like that lineup. Rigger for bars. Rigger 49er. I'm sorry. It says,
who's the draw? Cole?
Yeah. You're not going to give Fontaine credit? You sound like me.
I'm from North Carolina. It's like, I just know you picking J. Cole and Fonte to go in the same lineup. With who? With Currency?
Currency and Big Crit.
And Crit.
I like
what is
Crit.
this?
No.
What is this? The Underground Kings lineup of the South after we just got done doing Pusha T. Listen to the lineup. No, stop. Pause. We just did Pusha T, Rick Ross, T.I., Lil Wayne. MJG, Scarface, Pimp C, and Project Pat, and you gave me. That's what you gave me?
I like that lineup.
Okay.
Because you
keep
know
liking-
what? From
you
a
keep liking
production
that.
standpoint, Big Crit could come with some heat.
I was actually thinking Currency.
I like Currency's consistency too. Rigger
I
49.
like Currency's chances of shining on there hook wise more than Crit's. Like, who gonna do the hook? Who doing the hooks, Mike?
Good question.
Currency.
Yeah. Rigger
So it's gonna be
49er with the super
underground tape
chat.
then. It's gonna be an underground tape of Currency do the hooks. Because Currency gonna we're gonna buy this big 6 phone, we're gonna put it on spinners, and then you niggas gonna ride with me, and I'm gonna show you how we live this lifestyle down here.
It's a vibe, man. I like what him and Wiz and them did, man. Him and Wiz and Smoke Dizza, shit was fire.
I enjoyed it. No.
Today.
I love Currency.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, how is that lineup winning? like, see, people think putting all stars in a lineup together mean that the lineup gonna win a championship. Have you not been watching Brooklyn?
Let me get to these super chats so we can get to this Mount Westmore. Rigger 49er says, what do y'all think about Big Pun? I think he's one of the greatest MCs out of New York, and he could end up being one of the GOATs if he was not already. We don't really talk about Big Pun's rating, I guess, because I think that, you know, I say this respectfully, I think he was kind of just one album in. I know Oh Baby was completed.
Yeah, baby.
But Oh Baby
yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. I'm tripping. I don't know why I want to say Oh Baby, but yeah, it was Yeah, Baby with all the...
baby.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of the album when it came out. And I was a big fan of Pun.
No, it wasn't that good. It's definitely not Capital Punishment level.
No.
The top 5 album in that year, maybe?
Oh, Capital Punishment?
98? Top 5 in 98?
Top 5 in 98, possibly.
Aquemini, Moment of Truth. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. You think? Hold on. Do you think Capital Punishment is better than Volume 2?
That's what I'm thinking about.
It is. Think about it. Super lyrical. Tres Leches, the trilogy song with Prodigy and Deck. You Came Up with Noriega.
That's hard to say.
Twins deep cover with Fat Joe.
Yeah.
Dream Shatterer. Super lyrical with Thought. Still Not a Player, both versions, the original I'm Not a Player and Still Not a Player. Oh, that's more Heat than Volume 2. That's more classic Heat.
You know, I loved when, everybody likes the Dead in the Middle of Little Illity Diddle. I love that verse, but the verse before that, when he was like, I rub your face off the earth and curse your family's children like Amityville and drill the nerves in your cavity, feeling insanity's building up a billion, and my civilian can't be the energy that humanity's feeling. Yeah.
No, Dream Shatter is the verse.
Yeah.
Dream Shatter is the rhyme of the year shit.
Yeah. So
that might have been the rhyme of the year. Dream Shatter might have been the best rhyme that year.
To answer that question, I think it makes it very difficult to rank Big Pun and Big L because of just the lack of catalog, you know. But the potential obviously was super high.
But I think you want to know it because here was my thing with Capital Punishment. I just felt like Capital Punishment was a little too long. Mm-hmm. And I felt like if he would have condensed it, because listen to the song I just named, like I just went about 7, 8, 9 deep with some like rap classic like that. That's heat.
Yeah.
That's heat.
The production was there. That's one thing I will say about Terror Squad back in the day, man. Even that Terror Squad compilation. That production
got some tracks on
there.
Yeah,
man. Their production was heat, man. Even Beat Nuts and shit. And I know Beat Nuts wasn't technically Terror Squad, but just that whole collective. Like, I love Beat Nuts forever. That beat, man, Juju and them was going crazy. Jay Short with the super chat says,
Beat Nuts nice with it.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big Beat Nuts
fan. Juju's probably one. Juju, it's funny because Ant Banks is on the Mount Westmore, which we really do need to get to now. Ant Banks and Juju, those are two of those guys that make banging-ass beats that people outside of their coast and their neighborhood forget about, that are great, that have done it like on a major level, like right in front of your face. Like if we ran into Juju or Ant Banks right now, we wouldn't recognize him.
Oh, I know Juju off top, but maybe
you wouldn't recognize Juju right now, Mike. Stop lying.
Yeah, I would.
You would?
I'm a fan. I'm a Beat Nuts fan. Like for real.
You would recognize Juju right now.
Definitely.
Like we was in New York and we was on the streets.
I definitely would. I see his face right now in my head. Now Ant Banks now. Jay Short with the super chat says Coop is dismissing Fonte like he's a Dipset extra.
I just asked who was doing the hooks. Somebody was dismissing Fonte. I'm just saying we doing Cole and Fonte. Why y'all keep doing that?
Well, what about Rhapsody? No? Okay. 4-5 the hero says, I think that
North Carolina's gonna rock with that because they be kicking me. They be kicking me about not riding Fonte's coattails enough, and I'm like, I've already told you that I think Cole can be better than Kendrick. What more do you want from me? It's like, well, we want Fonte too. You want to know? I'm like, let's just put Cole, Fonte, and Rhapsody, and pick a rapper that's not from North Carolina in there.
Petey
So all my North
Pablo.
Carolina people.
Petey Pablo, North Carolina. 4-5 the hero with the super chat says, I think the In My Lifetime is overall better than the Blueprint if you compare it to King's Disease. Wait
In
a
my
minute, what?
lifetime,
So I think that In My Lifetime is better overall than the Blueprint if you compare it to King's Disease. Not sure I understand. On that note, Mount Westmore, what were your thoughts? Well, Neil, let me give it a little intro. Mount Westmore came out today. For the people who don't know, it's Too Short. E40, Ice Cube, and Snoop Dogg coming together as a super group. And yes, very, very super group. Mount Westmore is the album. And what were your thoughts of it after listening to it today, Kool?
I think they pulled off a few rare feats on here that don't often get noted in hip hop, and so I think we want to notate them today. I want to preface this for a stake before I say this. Like, we're advocates for all legends when they do dope shit, because I think one of the problems, and I'm going to say this again because I've said it multiple times, one of the reasons that LL Cool J started Rock the Bells Radio, and he said so, was so that legendary artists and MCs in hip hop get the treatment that the rock stars get because they deserve it.
Yeah.
And so when we have literally 4 of the 10 best MCs to ever come out of the West Coast on one album, and they all happen to be pioneers, and they are able to sew this together, this is quite the feat because this album sounds very, very good. It's very connected. It doesn't have a lot of missteps. It has a wonderful variety and array of topics, subject matter. Some are lighthearted, some are serious. Things come across well. The production is not as great as the MCs, but that's about it. And the production's dope. It's just not as great as the MCs because, well, quite frankly, Ice Cube and E40 showed their ass on this album. Ice Cube and E40 showed their ass on this album. Like, Ice Cube is one of the 10 greatest MCs of all time. This is what I would like to call some late career or late game evidence. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Nas King's Disease run. Like, he's not sitting like at number 1. But Ice Cube is a top 10 MC, and you hear why on this album. Because
you're giving Ice Cube the MVP of this album?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it depends on how you want to parse out MVP. We might be having like a little KD Steph conversation because we're about to go to the Bay and talk about 40 for a minute. But Ice Cube is kind of like KD was with the Golden State Warriors. That was my note. It's like, oh, no. He coming in and he killing shit and sewing shit up in a very efficient and timely fashion and letting you know who the best actual talent is between the 4. I know Snoop is the bigger star. I know that Short is the bigger hustler, and I know 40 has more swag, but none of them are Ice Cube on the mic. They're not. And this is evidence of why he's a top 10 MC. He's got quotables here all over the place, and every time he steps to the mic, it's different.
It is.
Like, you know, this is what I'm saying. This is what I mean about being great. And this is some of the stuff that I quibble about with Kendrick. When Ice Cube steps to the motherfucking mic, it feels like I'm hearing one of the greatest 10 MCs that ever rapped. You understand what I'm saying? There's a feeling and an aura and a royalty that comes with it when the niggas start delivering, and it reminds you, it's like, oh yeah, this the illest nigga in Nebraska.
I mean, he's always been a very great team player. Look at, NWA. Look at West Side Connection.
West Side Connection.
Right. And even a lot of the collaborations that he's done with like Lil Jon and in that era of rap. Like I told you offline, I think I said this in the Patreon. I wanted to listen to this album like I was listening to a new group for the first time. Like you remember when you first put in like Goody Mob or whatever, or just heard Goody Mob, and I think Bone Thugs and Harmony was definitely one of these groups where everybody kind of
Yes.
gravitated to what individual person in the group that they like. So
Right.
I wanted to kind of take on this album like that. Like if I'm never heard any of these guys individually,
Ice
which
Cube's a
member,
motherfucking man.
yeah, which member would I gravitate to? And I got that from Cube on this album where it's like,
That's what
yeah,
top 10
he
MCs
would be
do
the
all
guy.
time. No, when you're top 10, there's a natural gravitational pull that comes with it. It's like when you hear Ghost, when you hear Scarface, when
Yeah.
you hear Jay, when you hear Rakim, when you hear Nas, it does something to you. You're like, hold up, what? You're like, what? Oh, you're like, oh shit, that's what I'm talking about.
Do you
Like
remember
he
when you
does that on
heard?
this album.
Do you remember when you heard Crucial Conflicts "Hey" in the middle of the barn for the first time?
I was in Boulevard Homes with my homie Tremaine Belton. We were in his mama's room right after we had got off the school bus. We were stealing her cigarettes because she was asleep. And we went and stole a cigarette. And she just happened to have BET on, and it was playing Hey. And we immediately got crunk and started dancing. And she woke up. She asked us what the fuck we were doing. She asked us what we were doing. This West Side Show. She asked us what we were doing. And then, like, yeah, but that's how I heard.
What
Hey.
verse
I heard,
did you
hey,
gravitate to? It was either the first or the last for me. I think when I first heard it, I think it was the first verse that set it off. I forgot his name.
Which verse was it? Was hey, good old Hey, how you feel today? Fine,
yeah, that's the first verse.
And Dan.
Yeah,
that's the one. Oh yeah, that first verse. Yeah, it was the
and
first
see, that's
verse.
the way it used to be. Like back when there were groups in hip hop, you would hear a group for the first time and kind of almost pick your member, right? And like whenever you heard the album, you're looking for that person. Like Crazy Bone was that person in Bone for me. Like, and honestly, when I heard first, well, Thuggish Ruggish Bone, that was kind of different. But when I heard First of the Month, because it kind of like they retooled their sound, Lazy and Wish kind of had the standouts on there to me.
Lazy was my guy.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, Lazy was my guy. I wasn't a Crazy fan like everybody else. Lazy was my guy. I thought he was the best MC pound for pound though.
Yeah, Crazy was the guy. And like I told you on Soul Food, Cujo was the guy. And obviously CeeLo stood out. But on that album, I think Cujo just hit chakras that just, were there. He was very descriptive, local, and all of that with it. But saying all that to say,
local.
Yeah, I wanted to walk into this album with that kind of mindset. And yeah, Cube ended up being the guy on this album, in my opinion. Now, examining a little bit more and walking outside of that and understanding who they are as individuals, as far as the foundation for this, definitely sounds very E40 influence from a production standpoint. And obviously Too Short and Snoop, they can adapt to anything. Cube can too, but those guys, they're just... What's the record with Short's talking his shit, man?
All of them, but I hear you.
No, but it's a record, man. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. Well, go ahead, say what you were going to say.
Well, here's what I'll tell you about the album. And here's what makes it like dope in a way that like a lot of like, how about this? You know how what's their names? Four Horsemen came together and did an album?
Yeah.
Like, it's funny how they're not as big as these guys, but these guys kind of know how to get in where they fit in together. Like, one of the great things about the album is how great Short and Cube sound together.
Yeah.
They sound genuinely good together. Here's another thing that's great about the album. You're right. I don't think E40 is just the production. I don't think he's just the production like voice of this album. I think he's like the voice of this album. Like, he's the point guard of this team, which I think it's funny. It's kind of like it's very much like looking at the Boston Celtics and it's being like, Rondo's running the show? It's like we got KG, and it's like Rondo's running the show. It's like no, you ain't no Rondo can ball and go get you a triple double. Yep. And so like for me, this is kind of like a coming out party of sorts for E40, because it's like I think that because Snoop and Too Short and Ice Cube for various reasons have such loyal followers, he is probably the least followed of these four. But his fingerprints are all over this like a point guard more than all of theirs are. He feels like the driving force behind this stylistic.
He does.
He feels stylistically like the driving force. And what I love about it is that, well, if you ever listen to 40 always talks about a lot of things, but sometimes you can get wrapped up in his lingo and it can be hard for people to want to listen to it for a long period of time. But, you give him the chance to set something off with his lingo and with his aesthetic and with his drip, and then you're passing it off to guys like Snoop and Ice Cube and Too Short. Man, this album hard, Mike. This album good.
The song I was thinking about was Too Short's verse on I Got Pulled.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I got notes on I Got Pulled.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you exactly what the note is.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, "Is capital punishment better than Ready to Die?" No.
Listen to what I'm saying when I got. Listen to these notes. Cali don't care about you. They good without you. They make music for their set as much as any state ever has in the history of hip hop.
That's real.
Example given, I Got Pulled. Because I'm telling you what right now. Out there in the Bay right now and in Southern California, they playing I Got Pulled, and I guarantee you they ain't playing nowhere else. They banging I Got Pulled.
Yep.
Because they don't care about us, because they know, because Short and 40 and Q and Snoop all know, if we just make shit for Cali, we gonna win.
We're good, yeah.
We're good. Cali don't care about you. I Got Pulled is one of those records that's so California, Mike, it's like, these niggas still know what works. They still know what works.
There's two places in hip-hop where you can pull that off. Cali and Texas.
That's it. But think about it. What? Second and third biggest states?
I think they're first and second. So, as far as population.
Alaska.
Oh, you're talking about geographically. Yeah. Geographically, yeah. So I'm talking about population.
Population-wise, they're second and... geographically, they're second and third, though, right?
Yeah. Population-wise, they're first and second.
So Cali don't care about you. I Got Pulled is the example of that. It's like, no, we're going to do what we do. We're going to do this West shit.
Right. Yeah, they can do that though, because they can eat in their state alone. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing. And I wish that there were more places that did that. But yeah, Cali stays true to Cali. And you even got their legends that'll go back and just fuck with a Cali sound, and that's it.
There'll be artists that you'll never hear, Mike, that'll be rich, and they'll be in Cali their whole careers.
Yeah. I mean, Nipsey ended up crossing over. But Nipsey had a great career before even crossing over, just being Cali. Even when I listen to what YG does, like YG is so Cali with his shit. Mm-hmm. Mustard, Hold on, but he's the man in Cali.
Mm-hmm.
As he should be. Rigger 49er with the super chat says my top 5: Tupac, Q, Stacks, 3 Stacks, Nas, Face, and E40 tied at 5. Those are my all-time greats. They have been laced. They've been laced the game and taught everyone the ropes.
So listen,
take the game to the next level. They definitely did.
So this album has some of everything. So there's a lot of Black empowerment message and themes coming from our elder statesmen on this album.
I love it.
Can I interest you in Lace You Up and Do My Best?
Mm.
Listen to Ice Cube on Do My Best. This is what I mean, top 10 shit. You got to work double as hard to get half as far. As black as we are, I'm black as the tar. But I'm a star. I'm down as fuck and up to par. I might cuss, yell, or vent, but Ice Cube give 1,000%. And I'm thinking no, this is proof to life, truth to life.
Yeah.
This is who Ice Cube is, and you're getting it in bar work, in format, and with the message. E40 on Do My Best literally talks from the perspective of how a listener should appreciate getting to hear all 4 of them on record together. And he's absolutely right. Because do you know that these guys vocally are not similar? subject matter wise, except for Snoop, sometime when he get on his short shit, are not similar. Like, so four titans like this coming together and blending this music seamlessly. I know Ice Cube is the MC, but E40 is the sound. And you want to know what's crazy about all of this? The biggest star plays the back the most, and that's what's beautiful about this.
I was thinking that too. But I think that he's the youngest, though, right? You know what I mean?
And it's intentional. It's respect, it's homage, and it's also him not wanting to overshadow his elders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on death row, and so it's getting you. Who clearing the checks for all this? Well, it's Snoop. So Snoop is actually in a boss role on this because it's getting released on death row, and it's falling back.
Well, let's talk about that part of it too, and how beautiful it is that, you know, not only does Snoop have
this is a death row release,
but the fact that you actually have Snoop, Q, Too Short, and E40 putting out an album that is on Death Row Records. That's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. For the West, I mean? For the West especially.
You know,
and think about this. We haven't talked about Snoop at all until now. That's how you know this album is really dope. We haven't talked about the biggest star.
This is literally like if if Berry Gordy wasn't forced to sell Motown to Universal, and somehow Stevie Wonder would have ended up with Motown. You know what I mean? And been able to kind of just make records with whoever he wanted to and put them out through Motown. It's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. It really is.
No, it really is. But the quality's there. If you'll actually, I don't know if people have peeped the two Snoop projects that have been released on Death Row, the compilations, the Death Row Presents.
His Gangsta Grill was dope too.
I'm going to pull up the names right quick.
Yeah, Snoop's been working this year. He put out a Gangsta Grill this year that was dope. I liked it a lot. And the compilations that Snoop does is always crazy. Man with the super chat says, War and Peace, Volume 1 and 2 are underrated in my opinion.
Right. Snoop Dogg did Algorithm last year on Death Row when he acquired the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
That was November of last year, November 19th of last year. That's the song that had Big Subwoofer on it, Mike, because Big Subwoofer, and this is what I mean, we're consistent about stuff. So I know a lot of people pull up and they think sometimes it's like, oh, well, y'all are a Nas channel. It's like, no, we're a proponent of giving people their due. Mike, Big Subwoofer made our best songs list last year because when I remember hearing it, when it dropped November 19th of last year, and I was like, no, this is one of the 20 best rap songs I've heard this year. And just because these niggas is old and ain't nobody going to play it doesn't change the fact that all of these dudes were snapping on this record, and it's a year later, and guess what? The record still slaps.
Mm-hmm.
Big Subwoofer still dope as fuck.
Yeah, it is. JY with the super chat says, what up, number one hip hop podcast? What up, what up? Says, went to the K-Dot concert. Oh, he has an update. He said he played a lot more Mr. Morale's songs than expected. Song sounded better live. Great experience. So you had a similar experience when it came to Pusha T's concert. You said those songs sound better live.
They did. I had a better understanding and appreciation for them live, and I can really dig and appreciate these artists getting into their live performances. But what I would also submit to you is that the shit that was dope on record and dope live is always dope live. You get what I'm saying? Like when the Soul Paul beat dropped and he did his verse, oh no, the people went crazy. You feel what I'm saying?
It's a moment.
Right. Like when if you know dropping, no. People went crazy for that though. So when I'm telling you that stuff is good, it's like I'm telling you their performance of it is good. I'm not telling you that the record's like that. Like when he did Just So You Know Who You're Dealing With. It's like, no, the performance was great. And acoustically and stadium-wise, I can hear what Ye was doing stadium-wise with it. But it ain't like If You Know, You Know.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not about to be. Yeah, and then Snoop Dogg did Death Row Summer this past year. It had some stuff on there. It was mostly like, so Snoop's been working and putting stuff together. So this is at least the third official Death Row release in a year.
Snoop and Nas have been working, man. JY with the super chat says...
Lost Life.
Yeah. JY with the super chat says, Life After Death or Aquemini?
Aquemini, barely.
Aquemini is the overall package, mic performance, Life After Death.
Life After Death is really hard to put together sometimes in terms of like because how about this? It really is truly the only double disc that gets compared to other great single discs consistently.
Right. You're right. Jay Short with the super
All
chat
right.
says, "Great to hear these four still making music together and having fun, especially when we got MCs acting like they are too big for hip hop and can't find inspiration." That's the thing, man. Have fun with this, man. Jay Short also says, so these four millionaire legends with multiple business ventures can make an album, but Kendrick couldn't make one with the Black Hippies? Hmm.
Mm. No. Let his fans answer that.
Yeah.
Oh, you coming up here to be saying that I be getting on him. I'm not even touching that. I want to get back to my notes. We're not even gonna do that. Oh, Mike. So this is what I mean about the diversity. So it's like when you got your Black empowerment with "Lace You Up" and "Do My Best." You got the Cali with "I Got Pulled." "Do My Best" is Cali too.
Yeah.
But they got a strip club anthem, Mike, "Up and Down."
Yep. I was listening to that earlier too.
I was like, oh no. I said, that's playing in Atlanta. It's going to be playing in every gentleman's club.
These guys is having fun, man.
These guys are having fun. And you know what I like about this record? And this is what I mean about E40 playing point guard. Well, he really picked some topic and some subject matter that got up in everybody's pocket. Like when I hear "Do My Best," it's like, no, that's for Ice Cube. When I hear "Up and Down," it's like, oh, no, that's for Short. When I hear "I Got Pulled," it's like, no, that's for Snoop. And 40's like, no, I can do whatever you need me to do, player.
Yeah.
And that's why I love 40 on this album. You know what I realized on this album? 40's the Northern California version of Snoop. He's the underground Snoop.
Oh yeah.
He's Snoop. He's Snoop North. He's
You're
Snoop
right.
North Cal.
I agree with that.
40 Snoop North Cal.
I think that's why a lot of people wanted Dre to work with them.
Because think about it. What it is when Snoop pull up at the Laker game is what it is when 40 pull up at the Golden State game. You feel what I'm saying?
You're right. He's synonymous with the culture, even the slang. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
Honestly, a lot of that for shizzle dizzle stuff, like I always associated that with
that's
E40.
440.
Yeah.
Right. And so understand that, he and this is what I mean about how Cali don't need you. It's like, no. 40's cool if you never mean shit to him, because to his people, to his tribe, he's so large.
Oh yeah. Iconic.
People into his tribe, he is so large and so iconic. And much like Snoop, not the best quote unquote lyricist or technical rapper, but something about when you hear him.
Well, you said something about the fact that Dr. Dre didn't produce on this album. I know you heard Dr. Dre in the skit or whatnot, but what do you think about, do you think that Dre could have contributed maybe one or two tracks, or was that just not the
It would have required him to have fun and let some of his, I think his legacy is sometimes getting in the way of the work, Mike. You get what I'm saying?
I agree with you. It's
like, no. Like, how about this? I ain't seen him slide a nigga a couple tracks since he slid Ray something on the Purple Tape too. That was 09. That's the last time I seen you just slide somebody a couple tracks. Like, no. Take these bangers.
Just have fun with it, man. Like,
and that is, like, hold on, giving Ray them bangers didn't do nothing to his legacy. Like, are those tracks going on a Dr. Dre's greatest hits? Probably not. But like, did it do anything to his legacy? No. It's like, no. It's good to hear Ray and Busta Rhymes rhyme over a Dr. Dre beat. It would have been nice, and we'll be fair about this too, because I checked the production list. Well, Quick ain't on here either. It's like this Mount Westmore album, and Quick and Dre didn't do a beat.
Right.
I don't know if I like that. And when I'm saying that, I don't know like that, I mean like Quick and Dre have obviously known that this album is going on. Dre's obviously did a snippet intro for their actual single promoting this album. Like they dropped Big Subwoofer last year, like the start of Buzz, I guess. But the single, the song that you're talking about, that's the single. That's why Dre's on it. So it's like, oh, well, y'all know this is going down and y'all ain't throw no heat to it.
What's the last beat that Dre made for anybody though?
I don't. This is different. This is Snoop and Ice Cube.
No, I feel you, but I'm just saying.
40
in
and
general,
Short,
like,
so I don't care about any of that.
We always see Dre in the studio, right? But it's like we never hear any beats.
I told you he's doing the Marvin Gaye biopic right now. They gave him. He has full access to Marvin Gaye's whole catalog right now.
Okay, I mean, even with the biopic, like. He's not gonna have to recreate those songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he just doing scores for movies? Is that what it is? Or
I know a Mount Westmore album without Dr. Dre and DJ Quick production wise. When you hear these, and this is why I'm bringing it up. And Ant Banks and Bink and everybody involved, they did a really really dope job.
Oh yeah.
But this is Snoop, Ice Cube, 40, and Short. Like, you don't think we deserve some Quick and some Dre on here? I gotta flag the album a little bit for its West Coast tendencies without no Quick and no Dre, for it being these four icons. That should have got those two icons to submit something that should have made the board list, unless 40 was going straight no cal with it, because I think Bink is no cal and so is Ant Banks.
Okay. Well,
so maybe this came out of 40 studio, and if it came out of 40 studio, it came straight out the Ye, and I believe Bink and Ant are closer to the Ye side of things, and that could have been how it went down. But I mean, shit, we done seen Primo give shit to Dre from New York, and like it done made like a cut or a scratch, or you know what I'm saying?
Man. So it's Dre.
Right, so it's doable.
Rigger 49er with the super chat. Rigger 49er with the super chat says, "What did y'all think about the E40 song? I stand on that with 40, Joyner, and Ti. Yeah, that shit was hard. And who do y'all think had the best verse?
Joyner.
Think so?
Yeah.
It's something about Joyner, man, where it's like, you know, technically he's hitting everything right, but it's kind of Logic-ish to me.
Oh, so this is what I wanted to talk about.
So, you know, I kind of lean towards T.I. on that one. No, maybe. I was going to say something about the Dre thing, right?
Go ahead.
I think that, I mean, without looking, I'm pretty sure the last beat that Dre gave anybody was Eminem, but I think that Dre's thing is he wants to produce a whole album. He's not trying to do spot production. But the thing on top of that is he doesn't produce whole albums for anybody.
Stop. This is what I mean about ego. When he was leaving Death Row, he damn sure just gave Nas is coming for It Was Written. And it was not a problem. So I don't want to hear that. That's what I mean about that ego and that pride. So you're saying Dr. Dre wants to do albums. It's like, I didn't hear that shit when I heard Nas is coming on It Was Written. I didn't hear Dr. Dre executive produce It Was Written. Did you? Did you hear 13, 14 Dre beats on It Was Written?
Mm-mm.
Did you hear 13, 14 Dre beats on Eve's album when he did Let You Blow Your Mind with Gwen Stefani?
Or Kingdom Come.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Kingdom Come and Lost Ones. He did give him a two-piece.
Mm-hmm.
Gave Ray a two-piece.
No, he didn't do the song Kingdom Come. He did Lost Ones. I want to say 30's the New 20.
Right.
Could be wrong, but yeah.
But he done handed out a 1-2 piece before. Even when he executive produced the project, the artist only getting 5 tracks anyway.
I mean, does he have it? I mean, he has to have beats, man. He's in the studio all the time. I just be wondering.
He has no kind of question. Is that?
This is what he said during the pandemic. He said he made like 300 beats. Where are they at? Will we ever hear them?
So, as far as the rest of my notes, I feel like Have a Nice Day is the highlight of this very impressive project.
I think so, too. I think so, too.
What you like Have a Nice Day? Have a Nice Day is that shit. I thought that was a Song of the Year contender. Because here's why. The subject matter is diverse, and it's using something common that's taken over our lives, the camera. It's a different perspective from each artist of what it means to be recorded, and every verse has a different message. And it shows you how paranoid is the new normal, and they express it on record. Ice Cube's talking from the perspective of having his home invaded. Snoop is talking about social media getting people killed. E40 is literally talking about how they're tracking you on streetlights, in your car, and when you go to the grocery store. And Too Short is chilling like a player, watching the bullshit go down in the black community on TV.
Right.
It's a beautiful record. It's a great moment. This record, when I heard this record, because every song up before it is dope, but when I heard this record, it was like, I want to hear them do this again, because here's what I can guarantee you. For what this really dope effort already is, I guarantee you if they clean up a couple of missteps and make a couple more things concise and maybe spend a little more time and maybe get a couple more producers to submit a track or two, this shit could go down like album of the year type material, because I feel like it's right outside the contention of it right now. And that's with the song Tribal and How Many being missteps.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I don't know if y'all knew that there's always been a little tension / Cold War between NorCal and Southern Cal and hip-hop scenes. A lot of the Bay don't really like the LA rap. This was a big moment for Cali hip-hop. That's what's up.
Obi's told me about that. You know, my guy Obi, who was my producer when I was living in SoCal, he's from NoCal. He's from Sacramento. So he used to tell me about how the shit that used to play in like SoCal wouldn't necessarily always play like up in NoCal.
Rigger 49er says, what do y'all think of Mac Dre and Mac Mall? Nah, they dope. I mean,
that's what I mean when I'm saying 40's not the best rapper, technically, like from his area, but he's the guy.
I was about to say something when you I think it was about the production part of it. No, I wasn't Have a Nice Day, but I just love how these guys were able to come together, man. I mean, and like you said, NoCal and SoCal having that, bit of a riff, probably more so competitive than anything. But people like Snoop and Cube can bring a lot of things together. I mean, even when you talk about like the West Side Connection and what that brought together, you know what I'm saying, from gang culture with, Dub C and Mac 10 coming together with Cube to make an album.
See, this is what I mean about spending a little bit more time and effort.
Mm-hmm.
I think this album feels more complete than that album, but it doesn't have a bow down or Gangsters Make the World Go Round. You feel me?
Yeah.
But I feel like a little bit more time in the studio or maybe a little sprinkle from Quicker Dre can bring it that, because the project's not missing a lot. There's only a couple of tracks that I feel like are missteps. Production-wise, it's solid, but not great. These guys sound wonderful together.
I know.
They're professional,
they're
professional MCs. And this is what I like about it. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I can tell that they're veterans.
Yeah.
Can't you tell they're like veteran professional MCs who know how to play well off of each other and are actually fans of each other's stuff? Like, I didn't realize, I can tell from how Ice Cube and Too Short rap together. Ice Cube been listening to Too Short since this nigga been rapping.
Yeah.
I can tell.
They know each other very well.
They know each other very well.
Not even just personally, but they know how to play off of each other.
Right.
I was going to respond to something I saw in the chat. Somebody said something about, production is more than making beats. I get that. But Dr. Dre said he made 300 beats during the pandemic. He said that. So, I mean, but even if you want to say production's more than that, so he said executive production. What is he executive producing?
Well, no. Well, here's the thing is, how about this? Bring those beats in, or those drums in, and executive produce from there from scratch. It's like, I mean,
what's the last hip hop album he executive produced? Though,
Mike, do you know the flight from LA to San Francisco and the drive from? You get what I'm saying? It's like, no, you can be there within a day and be in the yo with these guys. Even if it's 40, like, and this is what I mean, is it's like, do you have a problem with the fact that 40 running the point? You think everybody's supposed to come down and get up in your studio? You see what I mean about ego?
Yeah, possibly.
It's like you can't run up to the bay and go see 40.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But again,
I don't judge, but I don't understand either.
This is my thing, man. Like you said, like being a producer is ageless. In a sense, where you don't have to keep up an image and things like that. You know how to work, and you know how to work in the studio. We always see images of Dre in the studio, and we know what happens when Dre puts his name on a project. But the whole thing about, he just executive produced, it's like, okay, well, what's the last thing he executive produced? Like, when is he executive producing a hip-hop project? Like, even when the Marsha Ambrosia project, he was talking about that, he says the best album that he ever produced and this, that, and the third. Where is it? This was 2 years ago when he posted that. Where is it? Like, at a certain point, we have to, and I know his legacy is incredible, as it should be, and we hold him high as we should. But at some point, when things don't get delivered, we kind of got to ask ourselves why. Why have we never heard of Detox? I mean, really, this is my thing with the Detox thing, Kool. We're talking about 13, 14 songs. How long does it take somebody to make 13, 14 songs? 20 years? I
mean, I don't know about you, but I've done that in in spans of times much shorter. I mean, I recorded my last album, which was about 15 songs. I did that in about 6 or 7 studio sessions over the course of about 3 months.
How long do you think it took him to make
That was with me working a
2001?
full-time schedule, being a husband, being a father, having to work around other artist schedules to get my cousin in the studio to like record me and mix and master me. And that was 3 months for 13 songs. I think 15. 14.
As a listener, how long would you guess that he probably put together 2001? Like, how long do you think it took him to make that album?
An actual airtime?
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks.
What? No.
Maybe 4.
You talking about from the bottom up? Nah, I would say maybe about 5 to 6 months or so.
You think so? You think it took him 5 to 6 months?
I don't think it was over no years of time. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
right. No, I mean, like, it depends on when you're
tell.
talking. Because when you're talking from a producer's framework, I'm speaking like an artist is coming into the studio and having beats ready for you.
Oh, yeah. That part of it probably took about that time period. I'm talking about the constructing the thing from the bottom up.
About a year.
Because everything sounded like it was made around the same time.
About a year.
Yeah. You don't have those, because it's clear what his shit sounded like in 97, 98, 99. And I'm pretty sure that everything in 2001, happened within that, year period. I don't think he pulled anything from 96, 97 and put it on there. Or 98 even. Maybe some stuff at the end of 98.
I doubt it.
But yeah.
I mean, there could have been some drum loops and they could have freaked some things. You always find old stuff and you're like, oh, hey, what's that? Be like, I like that more now than I used to. Let's play with it.
Let me recreate that or something like
that. Yeah, if you're talking about like the creative process as far as like formulating those beats, I'd say 7 to 8 months. And then pulling the cast together probably took a month or 2. And then you recorded took a month. So it took about a year, I'd probably say.
Yeah. And that's why I've always been of the mindset that I knew that the detox was never coming. Because it doesn't take anybody that long to make an album. I guess unless you're Black Star or whatever.
I let Detox go so long ago.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I let that go maybe around 06-ish. I can't believe people still talk about that.
Yeah. Maybe even before that.
Yeah.
I really let it go when I heard that I Need a Doctor. I was like,
When was I Need a Doctor? I feel like that was after 06.
That was like 08.
Because you remember they put out Kush with Snoop and Akon. I thought it was coming
Kush.
there. I like Kush too. Nate Dogg was on there too.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kush. But what happened to any of that stuff?
Well, I mean, Kush wasn't up to par for a Dr. Dre release single.
No, it wasn't.
Kush, how about this? Kush wouldn't even been a single on 2001 or The Chronic.
No.
That was the problem with Kush.
Nah.
And I think Dr. Dre realized it. That's why I mean he'd be too worried about his legacy sometimes. Because what if every song's like Kush though?
But at the end of the day, man, just put out the music.
Classic.
Put out the music though. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're actually putting yourself further and further back by trying to meet that standard. Now, granted, there's a standard, there's a high standard, but just like we just saw with Kendrick, the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Rigger 49er with the super chat says Mac Mall was so fire. There's a reason Pac directed his first video. When I was a kid, I used to say that he was the West Coast Nas. Mac Mall was 16 on that album. I think when Pac died, it slowed his shine. I could believe that. I need to go back and revisit some of that Mac Mall stuff from back in the day. 36 Chambers says maybe Dre feels like he can't live up to his past records. Hundreds of projects, but won't release them. He out here thinking he's Prince. Prince released projects and had a vault.
Not Prince.
That's the thing, though. Like, that Dre vault, it's going to be crazy. Maybe.
It's not Prince.
No. Jay
Prince did shit. You know, Prince released if you actually go to when his music career started to the day that he actually died, he still released the album on average every 13, 14 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like for his life.
Yeah. Every year. Dre releases every 20 years.
And he got a vault. How about this? He got a bigger vault than Dre, and he released all this music. And he been gone.
Right.
Stop feeding me that. Don't feed me that food. I won't eat that. That's penitentiary food.
Jay Short with the super chat
says, locked up.
Why do people feel Dre has to produce everything coming out of the West? We're fine out here without Dre. Ant Banks, Rick Rock, Quick, Droopy, Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll was on here too. Jelly Roll did a track on here. I think Jelly Roll might have did I forget which one.
I think
Which one?
Cali's so insulated that the people that are in Cali feel that way, definitely. But I think that the rest of the nation associates Cali's sound with some of the work that Dre did. But at this point, how can you? It's been so long since anybody's been able to associate Dre's production
2001 was our college years.
Yeah. I was in high school when that dropped.
I was my freshman year of college.
Yeah. So, yeah, 2001's a long, well, 1999 is a long time ago. And that was the last time that I would say Dr. Dre had his grips on the West Coast like that. There was a resurgence when he dropped that because Corrupt dropped Streets of Mother that same year, the same day, I think.
Exhibit.
And, Exhibit dropped that following year with Restless. Snoop was still staying consistent. Snoop puts out music all the time.
Game was around the corner.
Game was around the corner. But, yeah, Nate Dogg got that resurgence. He was getting features everywhere at that point. Jumped on Fabulous, joint area codes, everything. He was the go-to hook guy. In 2001 kind of started that, momentum again. 2001 was important, but we can't really live on that because the West Coast has been doing a whole lot since. And I don't feel like the West Coast has really missed Dre's absence. Am I wrong?
I don't think so. I mean, what did he contribute to Schoolboy Q and Kendrick's run beat-wise? J-Rock, Absol.
What about the Game?
I'm about to say, what about Game albums?
Yeah, what has he contributed?
What about Roddy, who you just named? Yeah. What about Nip? That's what I'm saying.
Nip? Yeah.
He ever do any shit for Nip?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's sound like the West been fine.
What did he do for Game?
No, I'm saying he ain't did nothing for Game either. That's what I'm saying. West been fine. He ain't made no beats for Kendrick.
Because I think that was the whole thing when Game said what he said. I think he said that he never saw Dre make a beat for him. Is that what he said? He's
pretty much saying that the tracks the Game came in and got were reference tracks that other rappers didn't take that were in the machine already.
Gotcha.
And so he got left the scraps, and he's not even sure who made the scraps.
Mo Better Co with the super chat says, "Ain't nobody touching Prince." True.
Correct.
Rigger 49 says, "Daz is so fire and underrated." He is.
That's what I'm saying. Daz is on the Doctor's Advocate.
He is. Do you want to rate this album yet, or do you think that's premature?
It's a definite 4 for me.
Okay.
It's a 4.
I think that, we do need a category where we're talking about, collaboration albums. And I
kind of feel that way, too, especially after hearing the Dreamville, the BSF, hearing this. What's the other one we just listened to?
The Wiz and
The Wiz,
yeah,
Wiz and DZA,
yeah.
No, the one that we just listened to though.
Oh, shit.
Metro,
yeah.
All these, all of those deserve their own category, so we might have to section them off this year. But it feels like a 4.
Metro got some Song of the Year candidates in there. I think that's what I was missing when it came to Song of the Year. I think Metro got some Song of the Year candidates in there.
He does. You know what the number 1 song that he has on there, right?
Walk 'Em Down?
Nope, Metro Spider. Like I was telling you, the Thug joint's going crazy everywhere. Metro Spider's that lick. I told you.
I bet. I mean, it's Metro and Thug. I mean, I'm a superhero fan. You know what I'm saying? When Future jumps on that Metro shit, it's some other shit. I think he set the album off right, but like I said before, 21 just sounds different over Metro stuff.
Y'all are hating. This album is not a 3.25.
Melvin Wright says, Dre and Primo produced Documentary 2, the title track. That sounds a little bit more Primo than Dre, but
That's
okay.
Primo.
Okay. We'll give him that. And that was what? 2015?
Ish. I'm not going lower than a
That was
3.8.
2015. That was the same year that To Pimp a Butterfly came out.
This is 214. Then this is definitely better.
Yeah. This is what I would say. I guess we can put it at a 4 at this point. Revisit it. I do want to talk a little bit of Trill Static and
Yeah.
2.
No, let's talk about the Trill Static too. That's cool.
Yeah. Trill Static 2 is a dope project. And that's another guy that is very, very consistent with his production. Static Selector, you know what you're going to get when it comes to Static Selector. I thought that Static and Joey found something, when they start working together. And maybe I was judging Joey's project based on the work that they had done together. And I was hoping that Static could have done more for Joey. But this Trill Static, combination, I like it. Bun B sounds great over Static Selector stuff. Most people do sound great over Static Selector stuff, but Bun sounds good.
No, this is what I mean about how it's like, well, if you would have told me, in 2015, it's like, yeah, Bun B doing a joint project with Static Selector, I'd be like, man, don't nobody want to hear that shit. Like, stop,
But again, this is collaboration albums. That's in that category too.
Just like Paul Wall and Terminology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like this combo. Do you like this combo better than Terminology and Paul Wall, or?
I like this album slightly more, but I think they're in the same range. And I think it's maybe just because Bun's superior as an MC too, and is such a pro and such a vet and knows how to slide on various tracks. Mm-hmm. But what I was impressed with was actually Static Selector's production selection because it didn't get redundant.
Yeah.
It sounded fresh. It sounded like his sound, but he switched it up like Acetone with Boldy. I was like, oh no, nice and necessary switch up. I thought every hour with Nims and Papoose was like, should have been better. Mm-hmm. Just quite frankly. When I was listening to Nims, I was thinking to myself, he's like the modern day Sticky Fingers.
I like Nims.
Modern day Sticky. He sounds like Sticky. You remind me of Sticky Fingers.
Yeah, he's like in your face with it. I like Nims. I like him.
Yeah, I like but there was some good. There comes a time. The ending. I thought the ending was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so it was really a job well done. Bun kind of picks his spot. He doesn't do too much. He lets people do what they do well. I was really impressed with the production on here.
I think the features really were interesting as well. Like it wasn't predictable in that light, and they all worked out for the most part. Yeah,
Styles P and Propane with Bun B. That's what I mean. Yeah. That's when a producer's doing his job. When those three guys come together and the record sounds dope, it's like, no, the producer know what they're doing too.
Yeah.
And Bun sounds a little more refresher and rejuvenated than I've heard him in recent years on these tracks.
I felt like that too.
Me too.
Mo Better with the super chat says, I got to give more credit to Quick than Dre for the sound of the West. Yes, Dre started G-Funk, but Quick took it and kept running with it to the point where he made that sound become the theme of West Coast. Okay? Mm-hmm. Man with the super chat says, Trill Static 2 is an amazing album. 4.5 in my opinion. Beats 100.
Whoa. I think that's pretty high. I have it high, but I don't have it that high.
Rigger 49 says, where y'all put dollars and cents as far as diss records?
It's better than Games diss is. The MC8 diss?
It is. Oh, it is. I'll give you that.
Dollars and cents is up there. Off what was that? Safe and Sound?
Mm-hmm. Safe and Sound to me is one of his best projects.
I think Safe and Sound is his best album next to Born and Raised in Compton.
Yeah. I was gonna say Born and Raised in Compton. I've always kind of had like a place in my heart for that record, but yeah, Safe and Sound might be the one after that.
Yeah, I was Safe and Sound number 2.
Remind people what we have rated at a 4.5 because I think I got my notebook here.
Gibbs
is rated at a 4.5.
That's it.
Okay, well,
we got Nas at 5. We got Gibbs at 4.5. Thought at 4.3.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's out of the question that this is tied with Gibbs.
That's what I mean. Like, Cats is tripping.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, good, I'm not going lower than a 3.8 on on the Mount Westmore, and if you feel like this like I don't think the Static Selecta is necessarily better than the Westmore project. What do you think?
I'm gonna have to do some more listening, but I think it could be. But I
Okay,
think that the degree of difficulty with the Mount Westmore, with the four individuals that came together, I don't
that's
know.
what I mean. Like my last note about that album was like, it's hard to put these different large personas on record
Yeah,
vocally. I think about it, the
they got
persona
it
and the
done.
voice.
These type of albums are the albums that you just hear about and they never happen. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and they made it happen. They made it work.
Yeah, they put it out.
No, it works. It makes sense. Like I want to hear them do this again.
Okay, I got the songs here. I want to say this because I was listening to KD3 today,
Hmm.
and I'm not gassing. I know that when we listened to KD3 initially, it was in a very heightened time. You know, everybody was hyped up about it. We was all listening to it at the same time on Station Head. But I went back and listened to it today just to make sure that we weren't overrating it because we gave it a 5. We didn't overrate this album at all. This album is everything that, everybody was saying it was. There's really no blemishes on this project. I mean, obviously some moments are higher than others, but that's with any album. It's the most complete hip hop album I've heard in a very long time. I think when you were talking about name a better album in the past 5 years in reference to KD3, I think you were speaking more so to its completeness.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes, it's an album.
yeah, and I think there are albums like Daytona's kind of cheating in that way because of the minimal amount of songs where it's just power heavy in that way, and you got a couple of features on there. But this one is just from beginning to end, from concept to concept, track for track, verse for verse, hook for hook. It's the most complete hip hop album that I can think of in a minute. And when I say a minute, I mean a real minute.
I'm going to say this again. The comps for this album are To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. As in, you're going to have to go to those albums to find a project as complete conceptually, lyrically, track wise, diversity, agility, quality of MCing. And even those projects have more help than this one.
This album, I think, got them an album of the year, right?
Yeah.
I think it got Nas an MC of the year, and I think it got Hit Boy Producer of the year. I mean, that's just
Yes,
how good this album is.
one of those tres.
They all show, I mean, the versatility and the quality that Hit Boy showed on this album. Like, I put on Reminisce. I was like, man, this beat is banging.
Okay, how about this? Here's how I want you to look at it. Don't look at the highs on KD3. Look at what you would perceive to be his, I guess, a low. So let's look at the serious interlude. How many MCs can even write and do that record and pull it off right now? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
high level.
I'm not being funny when I say this, but when we talk about this growth and agility that Conway is displaying, you understand Conway can't write no serious interlude yet. You feel me? Don't ask Benny or Gibbs to do it. They can't. They gonna give you one-way flight or rabbit. You get what I'm saying? Like, So when you got to understand this dude 50 and he's able to craft something like this, you know what I'm saying?
Coming off of 3 albums in a row in 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. This is like, y'all really got to start looking at, and this is the low, and this is what you would call a low end of this song. It's like, you understand his low end, some of your favorite MCs can't even create. That's why it's a 5.
It's a 5.
That's why it's a 5.
There was no doubt in my mind listening to it today. I'm like, I heard what Mad Max said, and I wanted to take everybody's, opinions in consideration and say, you know what? Let me make sure I wasn't caught up in the hype. I'm gonna go back and play it, and I'm playing it.
I did that last night.
I'm playing it. I'm like, nah, this is a 5.
Like, this shit crazy.
Yeah,
no,
it's a 5.
can I tell you something? about just all the hype and about being so dedicated to it behind the scenes and the plug talk and all that, Mike, I took about a week and a half off actually from listening to it until last night. And I didn't tell anybody. No, this shit's stellar, Mike.
It is. It's actually is more impressive now than, when I initially heard it with all the hype going on.
When I'm listening to 30, I'm like,
yeah.
Show me the 50-year-old rapper that can make this song.
Yeah.
Like, show him to me. Like, show me the MC right now that can, that's not named Black Thought, that can lyrically pull some of this stuff off. Like right now, they can lyrically pull some of this stuff off. And even with saying that with Black Thought, this is what I mean. Here's how I feel about KD3. Like Aquamarines, the song of the year. But there's 5 or 6 songs on KD3 that's on Aquamarines level, right?
This is what I'm going to say.
And you feel me? That's different. There's only one Aquamarine on Cheat Codes.
No, I feel you. It
There's
stands
5
out.
or 6 records on KD3 that's legit. Michael and Quincy, Reminisce, Get Light, Beef, WTF, SMH, 30. Mike, it's bang. It's shit everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. And this is, I know it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I feel like Black Thought, you give him that same set of beats, I don't think he would be able to pull off what Nas pulled off. And this is Black Thought.
And this is no disrespect.
And Nas could have gotten on those same Danger Mouse tracks and did the same thing, man. I
think he would have got a little bit nastier on a couple of them.
I think so too. And that's no knock. It's Nas.
It's no knock. He's the greatest MC of all time. These are the separation points. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's no, Black Thought wouldn't have been do you think Black Thought would have been able to do Mike and Quincy or 30?
No.
Those songs are back to back on the album.
Or Get Light.
No, maybe Get Light. I could see him doing a Get Light.
Think he could do that?
I don't know if he can. I said I could see him doing it. As in, I can see that being in the vein of something he can do. The WTF SMH? No, he ain't. Thought not doing that. Yeah. Gibbs can't do that either. That's what I'm saying. It's he doing stuff that the other top-notch rappers can't do.
And he's doing him too. He'll give you Thun so you can see it's all there.
No, legit and Thun and Ghetto Reporter, Recession Proof.
Yeah. Jay Show the super chat says, honestly, I like that Bun and Big Crit album more. I like when Bun and Big Crit work together because you can tell that, Big Crit's very, very, very inspired by UGK, and you can hear the love in those records. Deontay Smith with the super chat says, I read Metro Boomin is going to be having a big a presence on A$AP Rocky's new album. That should be interesting. I'm with that.
I'm with that too.
100%. 36.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You think the KD3 is better than Forest Hills Drive?
Yeah, I do.
Me too. So understand that album was considered to be a top 10 album of the last 10 years. So it's better than that, right? Mm-hmm. So just understand where it is. But here's the real question, and this is what I mean about it being a top 50 album. Go and show me the last album that got made like this by somebody by their goddamn self from beginning to end.
Yeah, and that's the other factor too. Everything else we're talking about.
Because Forest Hills is 2014. So we're gonna have to go a decade plus back. All your classic albums have help. Do you understand this?
I will say this, Coop. The last real solo mission that was impressive like that shut shit down was Damn.
Damn's not a solo mission.
It's not?
Rihanna's on there.
I'm talking about with the bar work. You know what I mean?
She's rapping on there, and this is better than Damn.
She's not rapping on there.
I'm rapping. It's kind of. She has some.
She got a hook.
She has some flow.
Oh my God. 36 Chambers says.
Hold on. Damn. Hold on. Is nobody else is rapping on Damn at all?
Nobody on Damn.
You think this is better than Damn?
I do. But it's not as easy to say.
It's not a given.
It's not a given, yeah. I'm not just going to say hell yeah. No, I don't. I think it is, but I would like to go listen to those back to back, actually.
A little Patreon action.
I would like to do a Patreon with that. That'd be cool. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, I've listened to KD3 daily since the release. No other project has gotten as much love from me this year. Non-stop play, no skips, really, absolute 5 mics. JB was here, says, as the girls double dip, I double my digits.
That's
Xavier
on Get Light.
Logistics. Yep, get like. Xavier Logistics says, did y'all fully catch the toughest line on KD3? Annie, are you okay watching me transforming
Transforming.
entendres? One callback, two, till I'm dark skinned, two, Moonwalk Robot Scene 3, and Jones Mom. Yeah.
No, that's why I said it's a verse of the year contender. If you're actually paying attention, I said verse 2 on Mike and Quincy is actually a verse of the year contender.
Yeah.
Yes. So I heard all those things. Yes.
LP with the super chat says, in my opinion, KD2 has a better run of songs from Store Run. Nas is good, but KD3 is still better overall. It's as complete of an album since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or Life After Death even. You know what? When you say that, I know it sounds like a long time ago, but when I start listening to the completeness, I thought more Life After Death than anything, or something from like the early 2000s or something. Like,
For
people
what?
just don't make complete albums like this in the digital era anymore. And I was just chalking it up to the fact that, you know what, albums just changed. No one's gonna make complete albums like, you know, what we're used to hearing anymore. Freddie gave it a really good attempt. You know what I mean? Like, I think his album is complete as hell. But this one just pushed that to the next level. It's one of the more complete albums that he's ever made in his illustrious career.
What I'm trying to say. So like, I want you. So
it's not just you know, anybody else. It's him included. Like, it's a very complete piece of work.
I was actually going to say you actually have to go back to the Lost Tapes to find a solo project that's good. You got to go back to his early classic stuff to find somebody go solo, like from beginning to end, sound as good as an MC.
But the
like
Lost Tapes isn't complete like this is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's rare that somebody, like, so let's say Kendrick on Damn, J. Cole on Forest Hills Drive, Nas on Lost Tapes. What other solo performances you got like this? You get what I'm saying? This is what I mean. It's like, you know how hard it is to do this?
Yeah.
Think about the albums that I just named. I just named Kendrick's biggest, I guess, coming out party moment. Like, that's Kendrick, the superstar rapper. That's Cole's biggest moments. That's Nas's comeback moment. Like,
yeah.
What other solo rap albums you got dude rapping from beginning to end by himself like that? Just think about how many tracks it is, because you're going to have to go back to KRS and Rakim and all them dudes who doing 8-9 songs.
They weren't doing
how many
17
songs is KD3?
Tracks, yeah. They weren't doing 17.
KD3 by his damn self. That's what I'm saying. So when people are like, "Oh, it ain't a top 50 rap album," it's like, "Oh, yeah, it is." Because go show me 5 rap albums post 1995 where a dude even holds it down like this.
No, you're right.
5. Give me 5.
Lex Diesel with the super chat says, Dr. Dre's been disappointing us since the 90s when his Helter Skelter album Ice Cube never happened. He's sabotaging his own fragile legacy. I think that, you know, I say this respectfully, but this is what it appears to be. It appears that to keep legacies intact sometimes, people just do nothing. You do nothing to mess it up, and you do nothing to further it. And you don't take those chances. And when you play the game like that, you got to give credence to the people who go out there and actually put out material. I mean, it's damn near like once you win the championship belt to say you're not going to get in the ring with anybody. Now, I got to give props to the person that gets in the ring. They might lose, but they're accepting the fights.
In hip-hop, that's a dangerous thing to do too, Mike, because hip-hop is so young that you play with your legacy potentially by doing that. I mean, do you remember when Nas, Big, and Jay weren't even top 10 MCs all time?
I remember.
Okay, you see how that's changed, right? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so when you sit up here and act like your legacy can't be changed, it's like, no, yes, it can. It most certainly can. People forget, like, time goes on, especially like in this microwave culture, this ADHD culture, and everything happens so fast. It's like, I know you're Dr. Dre. Do you understand that there's a whole sphere of hip hop fans that only know who you are because people like me and Mike talk about you. They don't have any evidence that you're the greatest producer of all time. We just tell them that you are.
That's true. You know, for
It's
all my
great.
band people out there, you know what it was like being in band, and they have the seating arrangements, right? For the people who don't know, they seat people by, their level of skill, right? You got the first chair, second chair, third chair, on and on. And all of that's predicated on you going out there doing, whatever tryouts that you do at the beginning of the semester, throughout the semester. But once those things are set, at any given rehearsal, those chairs can flip.
You can lose your spot.
You can lose your spot. The director could go out there and ask the person at the first chair to play a measure. And if that person in the second chair blows that away, you know what? He'll be like, switch chairs.
Move on over.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I don't know how in hip hop we've gotten to a point where certain people are just so solidified that no matter what anybody else is doing, nobody could be moved. But that's kind of dangerous.
You're not safe.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, the closest to safe that you have is that RZA run, and RZA's still not number one in my opinion, because it's like all he has is really that run, because he didn't do the beats on Supreme Clientele. He just executive produced it.
And he did a great job of that.
And he did a wonderful job of that. But even with all of that being said, and nobody's had a classic run like that before or since, even he's not number one.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah. 007 with the super chat says KD2 was a 5 to me. Then Magic came. And then KD3 came. He keeps redefining what a 5 is. I'd love to see who else can do that. Literally. Still waiting for Jay. Speaking of which, though.
Oh, these are all 5s. That's what I'm saying. The last 3 albums have been 5s.
But they're not all the same 5.
Not all 5s are created equally, but they damn sure 5s.
This makes me feel like I can't give KD2 a 5.
Here's why you can, because it's actually, if you really want to know the truth, KD3 is more consistent than KD2, but the highlights on KD2 are high, Mike.
You're right.
Store Run, Nobody,
yeah.
Rare, Count Me In. Oh no, that's a high level.
You're right.
High level. Like, how about this?
Even Brunch on Sundays.
I told you I love some Brunch on Sunday. I told Mad Max, you need to find Mad Max. If you found you a nice young lady to go out and have some brunch on Sundays with, so you can appreciate this record.
You
tell them Big Homie Kool said Big Homie Kool said tropical mimosa with the rum and the pineapple juice is the lick. That's what the lady wants.
Actually. That sounds good.
It's
Mo Better with the super chat.
The lady will be having
Big
Take
Crit.
some French toast and fried chicken.
Big Crit forever and a day, no features, and all songs were produced by Crit. I remember that. You're right. Give Crit some flowers, man. I felt like, man, Crit was doing his best work on the mixtape level before the game had gotten so digital that everybody was treating mixtapes like they were real albums. That's creators were just treating mixtapes like they were albums, but the listener hadn't gotten there yet. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of his shit kind of got overlooked because he was just kind of ahead of the curve.
That happens.
Yeah. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, what y'all think about Draymond's comments about Jordan and LeBron GOAT talk? I never thought about it like that. I didn't hear what he said, but I know that he is kind of in LeBron's pocket, so I can only imagine what he said.
Okay, so
Jay, we'll address that next show. Jay Short says Nas is like the 2015 Spurs. Media and fans respect him, but want him to go away. Huh. Antonio with the super chat says, don't second guess yourself. KD3 is a 5 out of 5. CJ Kidd says, thoughts on R. Kelly's new album. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I actually pressed play on it and then I went and did something, got some other work done and stuff, and then I went back and it was gone. So they've taken it off streaming platforms already. So So I think
Well,
I tried to listen to the first song. I think I heard a couple seconds of it. I was like, okay, I'll come back to this. I got some music to listen to. And then I went back and it's gone.
I think that he's a nasty bastard. We call him Petty Kelly, short for pedophile, Petty Kelly. Not Petty, but Peddi, pedophile. Petty Kelly.
This episode's going to get flagged.
Well, he's a pedophile. All right? You can cut this part of the segment out, nasty bastard. I hope he never releases anything, including getting released from jail. Next.
Dame 252 says Black Album was a solo mission. Yes, it was.
There we go.
The Black And you know what? We love, at least I do. I love when Jay does solo missions. That's my favorite stuff that he does. Honestly, the Blueprint should have been a solo mission. Renegade shouldn't have been on that album. You know what I mean?
Black Album. So we had Forest Hills, Damn, Black Album.
And Lost Tapes is what you included. LP says...
I'm just doing it to highlight that he got two solo missions like this.
No, Big Crit Forever and a Day, too.
Crit Forever and a Day.
LP with the super chat says, this is the closest subject matter to LT he's done. Lost Tapes. This is the closest subject matter to Lost Tapes he's done. Sure.
It's that solo mission talk. You want to know what Lost Tapes is too, and I know this from like the plug, not about Lost Tapes, but about KD3. A lot of what you're hearing on KD3 is what Nas wanted to make, and I kind of hear that on the Lost Tapes too.
Well, that's good. 36 Chambers.
That's that Nas shit.
I like to hear artists make what they want to make. I want to hear Jay-Z make what he wants to make. Maybe,
I think
maybe
Nas
that was 444.
I think Nas is actually at his best probably when he makes the stuff that he wants to make and not the stuff that the fans tell him to make.
Oh, definitely. 36 Chambers says, community love, providing jobs. Why would you try to come for me? Why you ain't proud of Nas?
Not listening.
Quote of the year.
It is the quote of the year. Like, it may not be verse of the year, but that's the hip hop quotable of the year. It's like, think about what he's saying. It's just like, why is he having to say that? Like every time, it makes me like, it's like it's that uncomfortable laugh Dave Chappelle was talking about. It's like, why is he even having to say that?
Right. Mo Better with the super chat says, Crit did it again with Digital Roses, no features. Crit does that a lot, and I love that. He produces his whole joint, and we always talk about Cole doing that, but again, Crit's not getting his flowers for doing that.
Hold on. It's the same problem without like a viable solution, though. It's like, how many of these albums are hip hop classics? I understand the economics of it, and Digital Roses was solid, but not all that. Or maybe it was just different to hear Crit and Love. I don't know.
L Bugs with the super chat says, did anyone see the video that Armani Caesar saying that her dream vacation is to go to South Africa with Nas? Didn't see that.
Belly heard.
Right. All right, well, shit, I guess we need to go ahead and get up out of here, man. I think we kind of covered everything.
Yeah, I think we've got everything covered. I think we're going to pull up and do some Cool G rap talk on Wednesday.
Yeah. And we got to really get these year-end rundowns kind of like factored in.
Well, that's what I was thinking, Mike. We have some stuff lined up. So on Wednesday, I kind of was thinking maybe we could do the next 10 albums.
Yeah.
Like 10 to 20.
Yep.
I mean, 11 to 20.
Yeah.
Talk Cool G rap and kind of go back over some of our list and formalize some things.
And sort this stuff out.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of the song and lyric stuff sorted out, but let's just be sure.
Mm-hmm.
And let's compile some of this other stuff. Like, we're going to have to rank these compilation albums this year. There's going to be a compilation page this year.
Between now and Wednesday, I'm going to really go back and listen, you know what I'm saying? And listen to some of the stuff that we hadn't listened to in a while. And some of the stuff that we listened to weeks ago, just so we can really properly gauge things.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and listen to the Denzel Curry. A lot of people have been giving us flack about it. I'm going to go listen again.
Okay. I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody have a wonderful weekend. Great show. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. What's up?
One more thing. Don't forget, we're coming. We're taking over. I need you all to be supporting the Week According to Hip Hop, our new show on According to Hip Hop. Mike got some top fives out that's in the chamber.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget to support me and Andrew on Mirror Music. And don't forget to go to my new YouTube page, Coop is Problematic. I'm going to have some stuff coming soon. We are about to exist in this cycle, put a chokehold on the game.
Yeah. We got a lot of new things coming. I'm excited about it.
And Coop is problematic. At least that's what the word on the street is.
All right. Have a great weekend, y'all.